My father, an illustrious general holding millions of elite troops in his hands, yet I resolutely severed our father-son relationship. I even voluntarily gave up the family's billion-dollar fortune. No one in the family could understand the reason. They simply wanted me to yield some of my military merits to my younger brother. Was that really more important than me losing my status as the eldest young master of the Mei family? But what they didn't know was, I am currently the marshal of the empire. Could someone pampered since childhood, like that useless younger brother of mine, have the capability to shoulder these military merits? At this moment, Simon Mei, who was sitting at the head of the table, finally couldn't hold back and spoke up. Do you have any plans for your return this time? I replied indifferently. No plans at all. I'll just settle some personal matters. Then I will return to the military zone. Hearing this, Simon Mei pondered for a moment, then frowned and said, Don't go back to the military for now. Since you are already back, stay at home. I looked at him, slightly puzzled. Why? Simon Mei didn't hide it either. Your younger brother is about to participate in the military exam. I plan to promote him to the rank of major in the military department. This requires some military achievements to support it. I intentionally asked back. So what? What does this have to do with whether I return to the military zone or not? Simon Mei looked at me, seemingly displeased. Hand over all the military merits you have achieved over the past 3 years to your younger brother. After that, you can go to your mother's company and help out. Even though in my memories, I had some understanding of this body's parents, seeing their true colors with my own eyes still made it hard for me to believe. Another person standing nearby, Vivian Mei, let out a cold snort. Working there, you'll probably just be a security guard. Anyway, after 3 years in the army, your physical stamina shouldn't be bad, right? Hearing her say that, Bradley Mei, my younger brother, also let out a disdainful laugh. Seeing me stay silent, Simon Mei spoke again. I heard you achieved quite a few military merits in the military zone. But in terms of martial arts talent, you are far inferior to your younger brother. Since it's like this, you might as well hand over those merits to him. That way, he can smoothly enter the 10 great academies. The Mei family's position in Northbrook will also become much more secure. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. But that smile was full of sarcasm. With my current military rank and achievements, even this useless father of mine would have to salute me if he met me. Would he dare to accept my salute? Thinking of this, my eyes turned cold. Give my merits? No way in hell. 3 years ago, I risked my life to enlist in his place. Isn't that enough? Sensing the coldness in my words, Simon Mei was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that in this Northbrook province, someone would dare to defy him, let alone that it was his own son. Recovering his senses, Simon Mei also smiled, but his smile was full of contempt. Michael Mei, don't think that being a soldier for a few years gives you the right to decide your own life. If I hadn't brought you back from the slums 10 years ago, you would have died a long time ago. I don't mind speaking frankly. Your existence is to pave the way for Bradley. I can give you everything, and I can also take everything away from you. Hearing him say that, I wasn't angry at all. On the contrary, my heart suddenly felt relieved. Initially, I always wondered why the original owner of this body tried so hard to be recognized by the family. It turned out I didn't grow up in the Mei family from a young age. Now, I just felt the binding rope in my heart suddenly being untied. My whole body became much more relaxed, I replied coldly. So it turns out this was all your plan from the very beginning. Simon Mei didn't answer, but the veins on his forehead popped out, his face frighteningly gloomy. He never expected the son who used to obey his every command would now dare to rebel continuously. Michael Mei, hand over your merits to your brother. When he takes over Northbrook in the future, do you think he will mistreat you, his older brother? Furthermore, when he gets into the 10 great academies, his future will be boundless. He might even become a martial saint in the future. As his older brother, wouldn't you also feel proud? Let's just decide it like this. I couldn't care less about him. My gaze shifted to the mother, Lily, and I asked coldly, So my dear mother, is this also your intention? Lily stayed silent for a moment, and finally said in a soft voice, Michael, I know this is somewhat unfair to you, but if you give your merits to your brother, your father and I will compensate you very well. I nodded, my voice calm. If that's the case, I will leave. From now on, I and your Mei family no longer have any relationship whatsoever. You rebellious son. Simon Mei slammed the table, stood up and shouted, You dare say such treasonous words. As soon as his words fell, a powerful aura erupted. He swung a palm strike at me, but that powerful palm strike, equivalent to the peak of a Grand Master, was easily dodged by me. Impossible! Simon Mei was astonished and angry. Even a true Grand Master would find it hard to dodge this palm strike. How could you? I didn't give him time to think further. I turned and walked away. The so-called favor of bringing me back to the Mei family, I fully repaid it 3 years ago. From today onwards, you and I have absolutely no relationship. Simon Mei looked at my retreating back, killing intent flashing in his eyes, his voice icy cold. Do you think being a soldier for a few years makes your wings hard? This time I will let you know that without the Mei family, you are nothing. In Lily's eyes, there was an indescribable emotion. For some reason, she felt as if she was about to lose this son forever. But as if remembering something, Simon Mei turned to look at Bradley Mei and Vivian Mei. Neither of you is allowed to help him behind my back. Is that clear? Both of them hurriedly nodded. Bradley May cautiously asked, Father, what about the military merits? Simon May pondered for a moment and said indifferently, You don't need to worry about the merits. Those are yours to begin with, no one can steal them. In his heart, Bradley May was the true heir of the May family. 3 years ago on the enlistment list, he personally added Bradley May's name. The purpose was to quickly accumulate military merits so that Bradley could return and inherit his position as commander-in-chief. But because he wasn't at ease letting Bradley go to the dangerous battlefield, he let me take my younger brother's place to enlist. Therefore, for the past 3 years, I had always been using Bradley May's identity. Hearing his father say that, Bradley May clenched his fists in excitement and said, Father, rest assured, I will definitely get into the 10 great academies. Haha, excellent, truly worthy of being the heir of the May family. You are countless times better than that rebellious son. The martial arts fire of the May family will be lit by you. Then I will go back to my room to practice now, to strive for a good result in the exam. Receiving affirmation, Bradley May's mood lightened, his voice unable to hide his excitement. Seeing his precious son return to his room, Simon May immediately gave an order. Prepare a celebration banquet in 2 days. Announce that the son who enlisted 3 years ago has safely returned. At the same time, announce the promotion of Bradley May to major. I walked alone on the streets, feeling extremely relieved. Even though I had transmigrated to this world for 3 years, my heart had always been imprisoned by the original owner's obsession. Returning home this time, having seen through the true faces of these parents, that binding rope naturally came undone. Returning this time, besides dropping by the May family, I had an even more important matter to attend to. Right at this moment, the phone on me rang. The caller was General Harrison of the Eastern Military Zone. He and I held the same rank, both commanding elite armies. Has Bradley gone home to visit yet? As soon as the call connected, a middle-aged voice rang out from the other end. I've been home, I replied. Although he and I were currently of equal rank, he used to be my superior. Therefore, calling him General Harrison was to save his face. Sure enough, hearing how I addressed him, General Harrison laughed heartily. Bradley, you are now a chief of the military department. No need to be so polite. Calling me old Harrison is fine, I won't mind at all. Hearing this, my heart felt warm. When I first joined the frontline army, General Harrison took great care of me. He even favored me by allocating a lot of martial arts resources to me. I had always been grateful to him. General Harrison didn't continue the small talk but quickly got to the point. I've arranged everything on your end. The Turner family, a martial arts family in Northbrook Province, once saved a severely injured grandmaster. They are ready to help you at any time. Thank you, General Harrison, I said. If that's the case, I will head there right now. Hearing this, General Harrison noticed something unusual. It's late at night, did something happen? I suppressed my emotions, shook my head. Nothing. General Harrison hesitated for a moment. It's not that your father didn't let you go, is it? Don't be an ungrateful bastard to me. To help you, I've invested a lot of capital. If you dare to do that, I will personally come to Northbrook tonight. In his eyes, I was a potential seed to become a martial saint. Reaching that realm was only a matter of time. Therefore, over the past 3 years, he had utilized all the martial arts revolvers of the Eastern Military Zone to cultivate me. I smiled bitterly. Rest assured, General Harrison. After I'm done, I will immediately return to the military zone. The other end was silent for a long time before he finally said, All right, tell me your current location. I will make arrangements. At the same time, at the Eastern War Zone Command Headquarters, a middle-aged man in military uniform with a heroic posture put down his phone. His eyes flared with a fire of anger. Vincent, get over here, General Harrison shouted, standing before him. Vincent trembled, sweating profusely. Gee, General Harrison. General Harrison picked up the file on the desk and threw it right at Vincent. Bradley May, it turns out he's the second son of the May family in Northbrook? I'm only finding this out now. Do you know how much money I've spent on him? Vincent's mind felt like it was exploding, and he replied in a panic. General Harrison, I didn't know either. Bradley May came to the Eastern Military Zone and didn't say anything. General Harrison said coldly, Excellent. Simon May, that old man sure knows how to calculate, making me raise a son for him. He stood up abruptly. I must personally go to Northbrook. Vincent wiped the sweat from his forehead. General Harrison, what are you going to Northbrook for? General Harrison said angrily. To demand my person. Of course, Simon May will either hand him over or return all the resources I've spent over the years, making me raise a son for him in his dreams. Over on my side, after hanging up the phone, I quietly stood waiting by the roadside. I had no idea what was happening at the military headquarters. As for the replacement name Bradley May, I didn't care much either. Soon a sudden braking sound echoed out. A black sedan stopped beside me. Excuse me, are you General May? A tall, slender girl with an elegant appearance stepped out of the car. I nodded slightly. Yes, I am. The girl adjusted her posture, her eyes flashing with a hint of surprise. The person in front of her was at most in his early 20s. A general at this age in the martial arts world was truly unprecedented. Realizing she had lost her composure, the girl hurriedly said, Hello, General May. I am Jessica, a disciple of Master Turner. Master specifically instructed me to come pick you up. The Turner family, I muttered, immediately recalling. The Turner family was a renowned martial arts family in Northbrook. I didn't expect General Harrison be able to invite the old master of the Turner family to treat me. In my memories, this old master had been living in seclusion for many years. Since that's the case, let's go, I said, then got into the car. As long as I solved the problem in my body, I could completely leave Northbrook. Before long, the car stopped in front of a manor's gate. General May, please rest here today. Tomorrow, my grandfather will personally come over. I nodded slightly. Sorry for the trouble. Following Jessica into the guest room, she said, please rest well, I won't disturb you anymore. Jessica didn't expect me to be so polite. After leading me into the room, she withdrew. I didn't think much about it either. I washed up briefly and went to bed. The next morning, before I even woke up, a piece of news had spread throughout Spiritvale City. The May family was going to hold 80's celebration banquet for the son who just returned from the front line, and simultaneously announced the promotion of Bradley May to major. A major not even 20 years old, this was absolutely a bombshell piece of news. In Spiritvale. At the same time, in the Eastern Military Zone, General Harrison had received the news from Northbrook early in the morning, but listening to his subordinates report, the more he heard, the more he frowned. His face became increasingly ugly. You're saying Simon May plans to promote Bradley to major? The person reporting, a division commander, also frowned. The news has been confirmed. I even specifically sent someone to the May family to inquire. General Harrison couldn't understand. Bradley is clearly a general now. How did he become a major? His rank got demoted? He didn't want to think further, turning to his adjutant. Make arrangements immediately. I must go to Northbrook right now. At this time, I still didn't know the news the May family had released. After a simple wash, I went to eat breakfast. Just as I finished eating, Jessica led a white-haired old man in. General May, my master is here. I hurriedly stood up and said respectfully, Old Master Turner, you came so early in the morning. Arthur Turner smiled and waved his hand. Little friend is too polite. Since General Harrison personally made the arrangements, how could this old man dare to refuse? I smiled and gestured. Old sir, please take a seat. Arthur Turner sat down on the sofa and looked at me. Little friend, give me your hand so I can check your pulse. I nodded and extended my right hand. A moment later, a look of astonishment flashed in Arthur Turner's eyes. You are very lucky. If the toxin had invaded your heart, no matter who it was, they wouldn't have been able to save you. I looked at Arthur Turner seriously. Old master, is there a way to eradicate it completely? Arthur Turner nodded. Yes, but this injury has lingered for half a month, and the toxin has seeped deep. It will take about 10 days to completely remove it. Hearing this, I breathed a sigh of relief. Then I will have to trouble you, old master. Old Arthur Turner smiled, his cloudy eyes shining with a gleam of light. Don't rush to thank me. This old man never treats for free. That's a given, I replied. Old master, just say it. As long as it is within my capability, I will absolutely not refuse. Arthur Turner sighed, a look of worry appearing on his face. Little friend must know, our Turner family is strong in martial arts and medicine. Although we make friends with many martial artists on the outside, that's just relying on external forces. Only by being strong ourselves is the long-term path. I understood his meaning and said seriously, rest assured, old master. If the Turner family faces difficulties in the future, I will absolutely not stand by and watch. Ha ha, good. Arthur Turner laughed loudly, but then shook his head again. But as I just said, relying on others is not a long-term plan. I adjusted my posture, puzzled, and asked, then what does the old master mean? Arthur Turner said, I have a granddaughter, currently studying at the Holy Martial Academy in the capital. She's about the same age as you. Therefore, I want to invite you to be the son-in-law of the Turner family. Hearing this, I was stunned. Was this asking me to marry into his family? Thinking of my current situation, I smiled bitterly. Old master, I've practiced martial arts since I was young. I'm a rough fellow. Even if you agree, I'm afraid your granddaughter won't. Furthermore, I already have a marriage arrangement. I hurriedly declined. In reality, this engagement was arranged by Simon May himself years ago. Although I had never met the fiancée, there was indeed such a thing in the original owner's memories. Hearing this, a look of disappointment flashed in Arthur Turner's eyes. So there was such a thing. Marriages between martial arts families were common, aiming to retain elite martial arts genes. Arthur Turner found it inconvenient to say more, gave a few instructions, and was about to leave. Thank you for your understanding, old master. I breathed a sigh of relief and helped him to the door. But just as we stepped outside, a butler rushed in. Old master, the young Miss of the Stone, Fifely is here, specifically demanding to see Michael May. Arthur Turner frowned. Michael May? Isn't that the eldest son of the May family? What is she looking for him here for? The butler shook his head. I'm not clear either. Arthur Turner waved his hand. If it's nothing important, send her away. Say he's not here. Wait a minute, old master, I spoke up. Perhaps she really came looking for me. Arthur Turner was surprised. Isn't it Bradley May? Why would she look for you? I smiled and shook my head. It's a long story. Let her in to see what it is first. It seemed that over the years, Simon May had done quite a lot to let Bradley May get the military merits. Even a major family like the Turner family thought the person who enlisted years ago was Bradley May. But unfortunately, with my current military rank, Bradley May couldn't compare. And the May family couldn't endure it either. Michael May, don't think that just because you are hiding here, I can't find you. Before seeing the person, an angry voice had already rung out. Before long, a young girl with fair skin, red lips, white teeth, and rare beauty. Northbrook strode into the Turner family's hall, but at this moment her face was icy cold, her eyes full of anger. Seeing Arthur Turner, she hurriedly greeted him politely. "Hello, Grandpa Turner." Arthur Turner nodded slightly, his cloudy eyes quietly observing without interfering. I frowned and asked coldly, "What business do you have looking for me?" From my memories, I already knew she was Samantha Stone, the person who utterly despised me and frequently mocked my origins from the slums, saying I didn't deserve her. "What business? You still have the face to ask," Samantha Stone yelled. "Let me tell you, don't think you can do whatever you want hiding here. You want me to marry you? In your dreams," I replied calmly. "If it's just about this, I know you can leave. Don't think you can beg me to stay." Samantha Stone froze, clearly not expecting me to have such an attitude. Before, I was a man infatuated with her. No matter how she insulted me, I just laughed it off. Moreover, she had brought up breaking the engagement countless times, but every time I found ways to decline. "Is there anything else?" I'm getting a little impatient. I looked at her. "Nothing," Samantha Stone stammered. In her heart, she suddenly felt uncomfortable, but couldn't articulate the feeling. Realizing she had lost her composure, she said resentfully, "Since you know your place, that's even better. Saves me from wasting time with you." After saying that, she turned and left. But Arthur Turner, standing next to me, was already smiling like a blooming chrysanthemum. If it had been before and the young miss of the Stone family dared to cause a scene in front of him, he would have gotten angry and chased her out long ago. But this time she came to break off her engagement with me. He was overjoyed. Thinking of this, Arthur Turner's eyes lit up as he looked at me. "Little friend May, since the engagement has been cancelled, what do you think about the matter with my granddaughter?" I smiled bitterly. I had just found an excuse, and now it was ruined by Samantha Stone. But at this moment, it was also inconvenient for me to refuse. So I could only say, "Old master, this matter should be taken slowly. At the very least, shouldn't you ask for your granddaughter's opinion?" "Ha, good," Arthur Turner laughed loudly. "Then it's decided. When my granddaughter returns from the Holy Martial Academy in the capital, I will arrange for you two to meet. Feelings also need time to cultivate." Meanwhile, Samantha Stone hadn't gone far. Hearing the conversation just now, her eyes widened in disbelief. Had the world gone mad? Old Master Turner wanted to marry his family's precious daughter to Michael May? That piece of trash? Hesitating for a moment, Samantha Stone turned back and said to Arthur Turner, "Master Turner, there is something I think I need to tell you. Bradley May once told me that there is only one true heir to the May family, and that is him. Don't let Michael May fool you into handing the Turner family over to a piece of trash." Hearing this, Arthur Turner froze, his face instantly turning dark. "Since when is it a little brat like you's turn to point fingers at the Turner family's affairs? Get lost!" Samantha Stone flinched. She didn't expect a word of reminder would anger Arthur Turner, and she didn't even understand the reason. Not daring to stay, she hurriedly ran out of the Turner family estate. With Old Master Turner's status in the martial arts world, the Stone family couldn't afford to provoke him. After walking a long distance, Samantha Stone gritted her teeth, her face pale. "Michael May, you trash, you dare to put me in this situation." Samantha Stone gritted her teeth. "Anyway, you won't be smug for long. In 3 days, at the May family's celebration banquet, the Turner family will know that you are worse than trash. When that time comes, I will personally witness the Turner family's regretful expressions." After Samantha Stone left, Arthur Turner didn't bother me anymore and went to prepare the medicine. I also received news that the May family would hold a celebration banquet. In 3 days. Sitting on the sofa, I inwardly sighed. "Simon May, you really are good at scheming. 3 years ago, you used an identity swap to push me into the military to fight alien beasts. Now that I've returned, for the sake of these so-called military merits, you want to swap our identities back. But how can things go your way? Even if I hand over the merits to Bradley May, does he dare to accept them?" 3 days passed in a flash. The May family's celebration banquet attracted the attention of all of Spiritvale City. On the streets, luxury cars gathered, all heading towards one place, the May family. Outside the May family estate, a long line of luxury cars parked. Being a martial arts family in Northbrook, plus having Simon May, the commander-in-chief of the demon-quelling army, the May family truly lived up to its reputation. The invited guests were all prominent figures in Northbrook. In the May family's grand hall, a large number of guests had gathered. Sitting at the head table was none other than the commander-in-chief of the Northbrook demon-quelling army, the patriarch of the May family, Simon May. "Today is the celebration banquet for my son, Bradley May," Simon May announced loudly. "Years ago, the front line was in chaos, alien beasts invaded. As a general of the military department, I had the responsibility to be in the vanguard. But at that time, northern tribes were also lurking. Therefore, my son, Bradley May, volunteered to go to the front line to kill the enemy." He swept his gaze around, his voice echoing. These words made many nod in agreement, feeling even more reverence for Simon May. Tribes invading, a great general did not hesitate to send his son to the front line. Truly worthy of being a pillar of the military, Simon May continued. Inviting you all here today is firstly, to celebrate Bradley May's achievements, and secondly, to have you as witnesses. There are quite a few people from the military department here. Recently, I plan to promote Bradley May to Major of the Northern Demon Quelling Army. Who agrees? Who objects? As soon as his voice fell, everyone in the hall stood up in unison. It wasn't that they were flattering Simon May, but because Bradley May had enlisted for 3 years, survived the dangerous alien battlefield, and established many military merits. Becoming a major was nothing unusual. Seeing this, Simon May nodded in satisfaction. Since no one objects, it's decided. From today onwards, Bradley May is a major in the military department. With everything settled, Bradley May, although appearing calm, couldn't hold back his excitement inside. He was only 20 years old this year, a major in the military at 20, and about to become a student of the Holy Martial Academy in the capital. In half a month. How many people could achieve such accomplishments at this age? Congratulations, Brother Bradley. Another pillar for our Northbrook. Vivian May cheered excitedly. There are many martial arts geniuses. I'm just one of them. Bradley May smiled, his voice modest, but his eyes clearly revealed his pride. With achievements like yours at your age, I've never heard of anyone surpassing them. Vivian May laughed loudly, her pride self-evident. After all, Bradley May was her biological brother. A brother becoming a major at 20, she naturally felt honored as well. Bradley May chuckled softly and said no more. After everything was announced, Simon May sat down. He and Lily looked at Bradley May with satisfied smiles. Their son had grown up. Right at this moment, a butler hurriedly walked in. Patriarch, the Provincial Governor has arrived. Simon May, hearing this, showed a look of surprise on his face. The relationship between him and Governor Richard Lee wasn't overly close, but it wasn't bad either. The two rarely interacted. This time, holding a celebration banquet, although he sent an invitation to the governor's mansion, he didn't think Richard Lee would come. Lily looked worried. Richard Lee came personally. Could it be because of promoting Bradley to major? Simon May shook his head, also feeling puzzled in his heart. Probably not. We publicly announced that Bradley enlisted for 3 years. Now I'm promoting him to major. What's unusual about that? Moreover, this is military business. Even Richard Lee doesn't have the right to interfere. But he quickly regained his composure, stood up, and walked out. People in the hall witnessed this scene, each with a different expression. Everyone knew what kind of figure Richard Lee was. But for him to come to the May family right at this time, what did it mean? Outside the May family gates, Simon May stepped out and immediately saw Richard Lee standing there with a young man, Tyler Reed. Simon May glanced at Tyler Reed and withdrew his gaze. Governor Lee, what brings you to the May family today when you have free time? Richard Lee laughed heartily. I heard the May family had a joyous occasion. I was free today, so I came to join the fun. Does General May not welcome me? Simon May laughed loudly. Not at all, guests are treasures. Please come in and wait. As they entered the hall, everyone watched in amazement. Seeing the two chatting and laughing, it didn't look like Richard Lee was here because of the promotion to major for Bradley May. I wonder who this person is. After sitting down, Simon May looked at the young man beside Richard Lee and asked. Richard Lee smiled and explained, "This is my junior from my family from the capital, surnamed Reed." Hearing the surname Reed, Simon May frowned slightly. He knew Richard Lee's background well. A junior surnamed Reed. I'm afraid they could only be from the Reed Marshall Saint family in the capital. Not only Simon May, but many people in the hall, hearing the surname Reed, showed expressions of shock on their faces. They all guessed that this young man came from the Marshall Saint family in the capital. But what was a Marshall Saint family doing at the May family? Tyler Reed hurriedly stood up, casting aside his usual casual demeanor, and said, General May, 3 years ago the front line was in chaos, and alien beasts invaded. You decisively sent your son to the borders to kill the enemy. This righteous act is truly admirable. Recently, hearing that Brother May returned from the front line, you are holding a celebration banquet. I specifically came to meet him. I hope I'm not intruding. Tyler Reed's words surprised many people. This was a Marshall Saint family. This young man was likely the future heir. Yet he was being so polite to the May family. Simon May was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Tyler Reed to come for this matter, but he didn't think much of it. Tyler Reed's words to his ears were an acknowledgement of his righteous act of sending his son to the Defiance line 3 years ago. He smiled. Young Master Reed, protecting the country and eradicating alien beasts is a soldier's duty. As a great general of the military, how could I stand by and watch when the nation is in peril? Tyler Reed nodded in deep admiration. General May speaks the truth. I wonder where Brother May is currently. Hearing this, Bradley May couldn't hold back and stepped forward. Brother Reed, I am Bradley May. He had never thought that there would be a day he could call himself brother with someone from a Marshall Saint family. Tyler Reed looked at Bradley May, a flash of surprise in his eyes. Although he hadn't met the person, he had heard of his reputation, killing over 1,000 enemies in one night at the borders, earning the title God of Slaughter of the Border Pass. Even if he wasn't outstanding in appearance, he should at least have a soldier's aura. but the person in front of him had fair skin, sword-like eyebrows, and bright eyes. Although his appearance wasn't bad, the aura of being pampered since childhood made it impossible for Tyler Reed to associate him with the god of slaughter of the border pass. Not bad, Simon May nodded excitedly. Hearing this, even though Tyler Reed still had doubts in his heart, it was inconvenient to say more. He just smiled. So it's Brother May, I've heard so much about you. Bradley May happily grasped Tyler Reed's hand. Brother Reed is too polite. Compared to you, I'm still far behind. Hearing this sentence, Tyler Reed felt weird. Far behind? Is this sarcasm or humility? The god of slaughter of the border pass, great general of the Eastern Zone, the youngest general in the country. Looking across the entire nation, no one could surpass him. Not only Tyler Reed, but Richard Lee standing beside him also felt something was wrong. Was this person really the legendary great general of the East? Bradley May's mannerisms were too soft, even a bit frivolous, completely unlike the image of the young general in their imaginations. Simon May watched this scene and smiled, feeling even more certain that his decision was correct. Bradley May was the true heir, and could even lead the May family to new heights. With the provincial governor personally arriving and a Marshall Saint family coming to congratulate, the May family's luck had arrived. The May family would definitely have a solid position in the future. Simon May secretly clenched his fists, his heart full of expectations. Right at this moment, a discordant voice rang out from the door, attracting everyone's gaze. Simon May, you really are good at calculating. I ask you, where is Bradley May? At the gate of the May family stood a middle-aged man in military uniform with a logoric posture, looking furious. This scene made many suck in a breath of cold air. Today, the May family was at the peak of their glory. The provincial governor was present. The Marshall Saint family had arrived. Yet someone was ignorant enough to come cause trouble. But when everyone's eyes fell on that person, they were instantly dumbfounded. For no other reason than the golden epaulets sparkling on his shoulders. A general! General Harrison! You didn't stay put in the military zone. What are you doing in Northbrook? Simon May frowned, his voice unfriendly. General Harrison sneered. What do you think? Of course, I'm here to demand my person. I ask you, where is Bradley May? Bradley May again. Everyone in the hall was so shocked they couldn't speak. The provincial governor, a Marshall Saint family, and now the great general of the East. What secret did Bradley May really have? Simon May frowned. General Harrison's appearance made him feel something was unusual. After all, he sent me to the East years ago. Now General Harrison was looking for me by name. Did I cause some huge disaster? While thinking, Bradley May couldn't hold back, stepping forward and saying proudly, General, I am Bradley May. Today Bradley May was truly the center of attention. So many big figures in Northbrook had come for him. This made him, who was pampered since childhood, even more conceited. General Harrison glanced at Bradley May, frowned, his eyes flashing. You say you are Bradley May? At this time, General Harrison was angry and about to scold him, but seeing Simon May not stopping him, he became even more suspicious. Not only General Harrison, but Richard Lee and Tyler Reed standing by also exchanged glances. Realizing something was wrong, was Bradley May the great general of the East? General Harrison had this expression. There was definitely a problem, a huge problem. General Harrison took 2 steps forward, staring intently at Simon May. You say this is Bradley May? Simon May nodded, showing impatience. What? Any objections? Could I mistake my own son? Now that I've brought him back to my side, does it bother you? General Harrison. General Harrison narrowed his eyes and suddenly laughed out loud. Not at all. Since parting ways at the military zone, you and I haven't seen each other in over 10 years, right? I dropped by today on the way. I didn't expect Bradley May to have grown this big. Simon May frowned. General Harrison's rapid change in attitude left him confused. He asked directly, if it's just a visit, why did you barge in so angrily? General Harrison sneered inwardly. Angry? I even wanted to beat you up. If I hadn't seen that this Bradley May wasn't the right person, I would have already turned hostile. But outwardly he smiled. Nothing, just feeling injustice for Bradley May. He risked his life at the front line, establishing so many merits. And it turns out you only gave him the title of Major. At this point, General Harrison completely understood. It turned out Simon May wanted to promote Bradley May to Major, because this wasn't the real person at all. Bradley May, hearing this, felt smug, thinking someone was speaking up for him. He breathed a sigh of relief and said modestly, General Harrison, a major is already enough for me. Bradley May was still complacently saying, I'm still young, my experience is insufficient. A major is enough, I will slowly move up. General Harrison glanced at him, feigning surprise. I remember you had 2 sons. Where is the other one? Aren't you going to introduce him? This sentence made Simon May's face instantly turn dark. That rebellious son has long been kicked out of the May family by me. Is that so? General Harrison nodded, pretending to be deep in thought. But inwardly he thought, has this Simon May gone mad? Kicking a general of the military department, a future Marshall Saint seat out of the house? Surely something unpleasant had happened between the two. General Harrison glanced at Bradley May, already having a guess in his heart. The person in his eastern zone wasn't this Bradley May. In front of him, but the May family was holding a celebration banquet for him. What tricks was the May family playing? If he couldn't find the answer here, staying at the May family was meaningless. General Harrison took a deep breath and smiled. Since that's the case, I won't intrude anymore. We'll meet again when there's an opportunity, Simon May replied indifferently. Then I won't see you out. General Harrison nodded and walked straight out of the May family estate. Tyler Reed, who had been observing the whole time, saw this and hurriedly ran after him. Outside the May family gates, Tyler Reed called out, "General Harrison, please hold your steps." General Harrison turned around and frowned. "What is it?" Tyler Reed respectfully stepped forward. "General Harrison, this junior is Tyler Reed from the Reed family in the capital. I have a few questions to ask you. Would it take up 2 minutes of your time?" Hearing Reed family, General Harrison immediately thought of the Marshall Saint family. His face softened. "Go ahead." Tyler Reed took a deep breath and asked, "May I ask, General Harrison? Was the god of slaughter of the border pass years ago Bradley May? I mean the current Bradley May of the May family." General Harrison sneered. "It is Bradley May, but not the fool currently at the May family." He continued, "Simon May, I don't know if he's gone senile or what, to kick a future Marshall Saint seed out of the house, and find such a frivolous fool like that to replace him. It really makes one laugh their teeth off." Tyler Reed was stunned. Even though he had suspected Bradley May's identity, hearing General Harrison say it, he still found it hard to believe. He frowned and asked, "Then why didn't you expose him just now?" General Harrison laughed out loud. "Why should I expose Simon May? What does it have to do with me? He chased my great general of the East away. Isn't that a good thing for me?" Tyler Reed nodded, looking as if he suddenly understood. "That's right. The May family ruined their own position. That person can only return to the Eastern Zone." General Harrison sighed. "All right. I must go find my great general of the East. He enlisted for 3 years, and I don't even know his real name." Tyler Reed hurriedly said, "This juniors won't disturb you any longer." In the May family's grand hall, Bradley May was the center of attention today, his mood so soaring he felt like he was flying. Sitting in a corner of the hall, he lowered his voice and asked Samantha Stone, "Samantha, is the engagement cancellation settled?" Samantha Stone remained calm but still showed gratitude. "It's done. I still have to thank you. Without you, I wouldn't have dared to open my mouth to Uncle May." Bradley May smiled smugly. Michael May now had nothing to do with the May family, and had even dared to defy their father, making him so angry. It would be strange if Simon May didn't agree. His eyes flashed as he smiled. "Oh right, Samantha. Today I met someone from a Marshall Saint family in the capital. I'll introduce you to him later." Samantha Stone was amazed. "A Marshall Saint family? How do you know a family like that?" Bradley May waved his hand, pretending to be relaxed. "Probably because my martial arts talent is outstanding. It startled the capital, that's all." Although he spoke lightly, the smugness on his face wasn't hidden at all. Samantha Stone frowned but didn't say anything more. At the same time, Tyler Reed walked in from the door. Bradley May hurriedly waved his hand. "Brother Reed, over here! Over here!" Tyler Reed, hearing the call, glanced at Bradley May, his eyes turning icy cold in an instant. He ignored him entirely, walked straight to Richard Lee and whispered a few words. After listening, Richard Lee showed a look of shock on his face, then realization. His face also turned cold as he said indifferently, "General May, I still have matters to attend to today. I'll take my leave." Simon May was stunned, noticing the change in Richard Lee's attitude. He paused, then said, "Since that's the case, please." Richard Lee stood up and led Tyler Reed away. Bradley May now also realized the strange atmosphere, but didn't know exactly what happened. He said dissatisfiedly, "Brother Reed, what's wrong? I called you just now. Why did you act like you didn't hear?" Normally, he wouldn't dare to speak to someone from a Marshall Saint family like this. But today was different. The powerhouses and dignitaries all came because of him. Bradley May was the main character. Tyler Reed sneered, "Brother Bradley May, I just mistook you for someone else. There are some words you shouldn't spout nonsense about out there. If not, I guarantee you won't even think about coming to the capital for the rest of your life." Bradley May froze, immediately snapping out of his state of being praised. Had darkened his face and said nothing. After Richard Lee and Tyler Reed left, Samantha Stone also prepared to leave. When passing by Bradley May, she didn't stop, as if his previous words were just a joke. Seeing this, Bradley May clenched his fists, his heart feeling as if a heavy boulder was pressing down on it, a heavy sensation. "In the Turner family's villa, I left the wash basin. After putting on my clothes, the scar on my chest had noticeably faded, even showing signs of healing. Arthur Turner brought out a sandalwood box, a medicinal fragrance spreading. He said, 'Your physique isn't bad. You must have practiced a body tempering technique. Your recovery speed exceeds my expectations.' I took the box, saying, 'It does heal fast, but there are still toxins left in my body.'" Arthur Turner nodded. "The following medicine is mainly to clear out the toxins. Within a week, you will completely recover." I felt grateful. "Many thanks, old master." Arthur Turner smiled and sighed. "Your physique is truly rare. I'm afraid it has reached the realm of durable sinews and bones. The alien beast that injured you, its level shouldn't be low, right?" I smiled faintly. "Not low. Half a step to touching the Marshall Saint realm." Arthur Turner sucked in a breath of cold air. "A grandmaster killing a half-step Marshall Saint alien beast? This combat power is too terrifying. No wonder you are called the god of slaughter of the border pass." At this moment, a voice rang out from outside the door. "Old master, there's someone outside claiming to be from the military department. Name's General Harrison." Arthur Turner adjusted his posture and smiled. It seems someone still cares about you. I smiled bitterly and walked out of the room. When General Harrison saw me, he immediately laughed out loud. Haha, finally found you. I thought you weren't coming back. An indescribable emotion rose in my heart. I asked, didn't I say I would return after my injuries healed? Why? Did you come personally, General Harrison? General Harrison replied casually. Wasn't it because I was afraid your father wouldn't let you go? You are now a Marshal Saint seed. If you couldn't return to my eastern zone, wouldn't I suffer a huge loss? After speaking, he suddenly turned serious and asked, tell me the truth. What exactly is going on with Bradley May? I helplessly recounted the whole story. Understanding the truth, General Harrison angrily slammed his teacup on the table. Simon May is truly going too far. To think there are parents in this world so biased to this extent. Noticing my expression, he probed, what do you plan to do next? I sighed and said helplessly, once my injuries heal, I will return to the military zone to participate in the general's heart evaluation. As for the May family, since we are no longer related, let the past be the past. General Harrison nodded. Good. With your current identity, Simon May doesn't even have the qualifications to check your files. But I will remember this matter. Later, when I go up to the military headquarters, I will definitely report this. I just took a sip of tea and said nothing. General Harrison continued, I heard that, for this general's heart evaluation, the military headquarters reward is the true dragon wings. It's the most important item for advancing to a true dragon martial artist. You absolutely must not miss it. I nodded. If my injuries heal, my general's heart evaluation can reach 6 petals. General Harrison froze, taking a deep breath. 6 petals? The general's heart evaluation for a true dragon-level martial artist only has 5 stars. You have already reached 6 petals. Truly worthy of being our military zone's chief. At the May family's grand hall, after Richard Lee, General Harrison, and the big figures left, Simon May lost his mood. The celebration banquet dragged on for another hour before ending. Now he was sitting on the sofa, frowning as he asked, didn't you guys find today somewhat strange? Lily also felt something was unusual. Even though the May family was the commander of the Northbrook demon-quelling army, to make Richard Lee and General Harrison come, I'm afraid that wasn't possible. And moreover, why did they leave so quickly afterward? Thinking of this, Lily suddenly said, could it be because of Michael? Besides this reason, she couldn't think of anything else. Hearing Lily say that, Simon May also frowned. To be able to make the provincial governor and a Marshal Saint family come, Michael May is definitely not simple. Over the past 3 years, it seems I underestimated Michael May. But inwardly, Simon May sneered. No wonder he reacted so strongly. When I wanted to give his merits to Bradley, it turns out he has a special status in the military department. Seeing Simon May's face shifting between light and dark, Lily couldn't help but say, how about I bring Michael back? Don't be angry anymore. Simon May said coldly, bring him back, in your dreams. Don't think playing these tricks will make me change my mind. He didn't do it sooner, didn't do it later, but chose exactly Bradley's celebration banquet to cause trouble. Isn't he deliberately trying to make Bradley lose face? Lily opened her mouth, not knowing what to say. Simon May continued, I want to see what this rebellious son really wants to do. Is it true that he has never considered us as family? Immediately, he issued 2 secret orders. 1. Thoroughly investigate Michael May. 2. Find Michael May's current location. He wanted to go find him personally. At the same time, after understanding the situation, General Harrison left the Turner family and returned to the Eastern War Zone. Arthur Turner also knew the whole story and couldn't help but sigh. To think there are people in this world so thick-skinned and shameless. I wonder what expression Simon May will have when he sees Michael May's true identity. Right at this moment, a voice rang out from outside the door. Old Master, people from the May Corporation are here to invite you to participate in researching a new medicine. Arthur Turner regained his senses and replied almost without thinking, not going. Tell the May Corporation, from now on, the Turner family and the May Corporation will no longer cooperate. At the provincial governor's mansion, Richard Lee and Tyler Reed returned, their faces still dark. Richard Lee was furious. Look at the good deed you've done. I am the dignified provincial governor, yet I went to attend Bradley May's celebration banquet. I lost all my face. If that was really that person, I wouldn't have said anything. But the problem is, Bradley May is just a playboy. Tyler Reed was also displeased. How can you blame me? Who knew what madness Simon May was suffering from? Kicking a great general of the military department out of his house. Thinking of Bradley May's smug look, Tyler Reed felt annoyed again. What he couldn't accept was being called Brother Reed by him. If it wasn't out of respect for Simon May's face, Tyler Reed really would have just slapped Bradley May twice on the spot. Hearing this, Richard Lee only sighed. I don't know what's wrong with this Simon May either, but what do you plan to do now? Tyler Reed replied. First, find out where that person currently is. I want to personally visit him. Coming to Northbrook this time, I am entirely here for Michael May. Whether judging from the situation in the capital from Michael May's identity and future, his value is immeasurable. Hearing this, Richard Lee hesitated for a long time before asking, what is the current situation in the capital? Tyler Reed showed a solemn expression. The alien tribes are growing stronger. The Marshall Saint families are vying for power, fighting endlessly. The upcoming general's heart evaluation will probably decide the winner. Richard Lee's eyes flashed. So you mean that god of slaughter of the East is capable of seizing power? Just how strong is he? Tyler Reed took a deep breath. Perhaps even stronger than you can imagine. His status in the military department, few can compare. Richard Lee's face instantly changed. Michael May's status in the military department, few could compare? Then what rank was he? A one-star general was impossible. There were hundreds of one-star generals across the nation's war zones. Two-star? That would be a military chief. Richard Lee sucked in a cold breath, his back shivering. He didn't dare think further. But this also made sense. A person achieving such accomplishments at this age was indeed too shocking. Surely, when the time came, the May family would regret it so much it would be too late. At this time, I was still at the Turner family estate, completely unaware and not wanting to know about the things happening at the May family. Opening my eyes, the blood chi in my body gradually receded. I let out a breath of turbid air. With my current physical condition, as long as the toxin was completely removed, I could begin stepping into the true dragon martial artist tier. Thinking so, I stood up and left the room. Having stayed at the Turner family for many days, it was time to go out and get some fresh air. Just as I stepped out, I saw Arthur Turner in the courtyard, carefully tending to some precious medicinal herbs. He turned around and smiled, asking, "Finally came out? How are your injuries?" I replied gratefully. "Recovering very well. It will be completely healed in 2 more days." "Many thanks, old master." Arthur Turner laughed loudly. Good, but don't forget our agreement." I nodded, preparing to go out. But Arthur Turner suddenly called out, "Oh right, Northbrook hasn't been peaceful lately. If you go out, be a little careful." Hearing him say this, I suddenly remembered that over the past few days while treating my injuries, I had sensed an unusual aura. I asked, "Did something major happen in Northbrook?" Arthur Turner set down his herbs and nodded. "Yes, 50 miles away from Spirit Vale a catacomb appeared. Preliminary assessment is double S rank, meaning there are at least Grandmaster-level alien beasts inside." My eyes flashed. Such catacombs were not commonly seen, usually accompanied by large numbers of alien beasts or alien beast nests. While I was thinking, Arthur Turner suddenly laughed. "I forgot your identity. Haha, but there is indeed a matter related to you." I pulled back my thoughts. "What matter?" Arthur Turner thought for a moment and said, "The Provincial Governor's mansion sent word yesterday wanting to visit you. I heard someone from the capital wants to meet you." "The capital?" I showed a look of surprise. Someone from that place wanting to see me was definitely not a simple matter. In the Spirit Vale military department, Simon May strode in, his gaze sweeping around as he asked, "How are things with the catacomb over there?" A division commander stood up, saluted, and reported, "General, the demon-quelling army has been dispatched and is planning the clearing operation." Simon May nodded and casually asked, "And the other matter, how is the investigation going?" The division commander replied, "Insufficient authority. I'm afraid it requires your personal authorization, General." "Insufficient authority?" Simon May looked surprised. "You are a division commander, yet your authority is not enough?" It seemed Michael May's identity was more complicated than he thought. Simon May walked over, looking at the words insufficient authority on the screen. He placed his hand on it, and with a thought information about Michael May appeared, but it only went up to his promotion to a junior officer. When he tried to read further, the screen displayed 4 bright red words, insufficient authority to access. Simon May looked at the words, an unfathomable smile appearing. "Do you think I care about a junior officer leaving the military department?" Simon May asked, his voice unchanged. "You guys said Michael May is currently at the Turner family?" His subordinate replied respectfully. "Yes, your subordinate investigated it personally." Simon May strode away, sneering. This rebellious son really knows how to pick the right place. Right at this moment, his phone rang. After answering, Simon May's expression suddenly changed. He hurriedly left the military department to return to the May family. Inside the May family, Lily sat on the sofa, full of anxiety. Bradley May and Vivian May were the same. As soon as Simon May entered the door, he asked, "You said the Turner family wants to cut off cooperation with the May family?" Lily nodded, her face looking terrible. "A few days ago, for the research of the new medicine, I had someone invite Arthur Turner, but he flatly refused. He even said from now on, he will have no connection with us whatsoever." The atmosphere in the May family hall became heavy. Without the help of Arthur Turner, the May Corporation would face immense difficulties in researching new medicines. In the era of high-level martial arts, if they couldn't keep up with the market, they would likely be eliminated. Bradley May frowned. "Could it be that old Master Turner thinks we pay too little, so he doesn't want to cooperate? Or did we do something to make him dissatisfied?" Had guessed. Besides these 2 reasons, he really couldn't think of any other cause. In Northbrook, the best partner for Arthur Turner was the May Corporation, because behind the May Corporation was Simon May. Vivian May shook her head in denial. "Impossible. Every year we give the Turner family 50% of the profits. Moreover, we haven't even seen old Master Turner these past few days. No one from the Turner family." Lily nodded in agreement. As long as the Turner family didn't make excessive demands, they didn't need to fall out with Arthur Turner. But now, the May family hadn't done anything to dissatisfy Arthur Turner. Why did he suddenly announce the cessation of cooperation? Could it be another corporation secretly contacted Arthur Turner, offering conditions he couldn't refuse? Lily pondered. Simon May's face grew even gloomier. I don't think so. This sentence made Lily, Bradley May, and the others immediately looked toward him. Bradley May asked, Father, you know the reason? Simon May's face darkened, his voice angry. Michael May is currently at the Turner family. For Arthur Turner to suddenly announce cutting off cooperation, I'm afraid it's related to him. Bradley May was stunned and asked, Father, with his current status, why would the Turner family shelter him? How could old Master Turner leave his words? Simon May sneered, Don't underestimate your good brother. In the Eastern Zone, his position is not low, at least a captain. Hearing this, Bradley May and Vivian May immediately understood. A captain at this age might be favored by Arthur Turner, considering it an investment. But Arthur Turner's judgment was too poor, actually choosing someone chased out by the May family. Bradley May sneered inwardly. Captain, so what? I am a major now. He dares to cause trouble with father, and now he's dividing the relationship between the May family and the Turner family. From the beginning to the end, Michael May never considered us family. Vivian May was furious. That guy is really going too far. That day he angered father, and now he's destroying our relationship with the Turner family. Hearing this, Lily was still somewhat unbelieving. Are you sure? Although Michael has some resentment toward us, I don't believe he would do this. Simon May glared at her coldly. What's there to be sure of? He is currently at the Turner family. Besides him, can you guys think of any other reason? Lily remained silent for a long time and sighed. Fine. In a few days, invite Arthur Turner to our house to renegotiate. Simon May narrowed his eyes, saying nothing, but a glint flashed in his gaze. Seeing her parents worried, Vivian May was so angry her face turned red. She strode out, intending to go find Michael May to settle the score right now. At the Provincial Governor's mansion, I sat on the sofa and asked, I heard old Master Turner say you were looking for me? Richard Lee, even though he was the Provincial Governor, before my current status, he was still not at a high enough level. He smiled. General May, we originally planned to visit you. We didn't expect you to come personally, I replied indifferently. I stayed at the Turner family for a long time, so I came out for some fresh air. Speak, what's the matter? Richard Lee turned outward and called, Tyler. Tyler Reed hurriedly walked in. Richard Lee smiled and introduced, General May, this is my nephew from the Reed family in the capital. I nodded. I know about the Marshall Saint families in the capital. General May, greetings. Tyler Reed took a deep breath, his expression unprecedentedly serious. My identity was such that often if his father came, he would have to be respectful, let alone him. No need to be polite. Why is the Reed family looking for me? I asked directly. Tyler Reed paused for a moment and said, I presume you will also participate in the upcoming General's Heart evaluation, General May, and head to the capital, correct? Currently, the alien tribes are lurking, and the situation in the capital is complex. The Marshall Saint families have been vying for power for a long time. If we have General May's support, the situation in the capital will quickly stabilize. At that time, everyone can unite against the alien tribes. He took a deep breath and continued, having your support, even if it's not the entire military department, it's half of it. I frowned. The military department only focuses on suppressing the alien tribes. You're saying the military department shouldn't interfere and doesn't want to interfere? Tyler Reed looked anxious. But the alien tribes are growing stronger. If the Marshall Saint families keep fighting and don't end it soon, it will only create opportunities for the enemy to take advantage. Hearing him say that, I remained silent for a long time. Tyler Reed's words were not without reason. But this matter wasn't something I alone could decide. After all, the military department currently wasn't dictated by me. I replied indifferently, I will consider this matter. We'll talk about it when I reach the capital. Tyler Reed was about to say more, but seeing Richard Lee's gaze, he swallowed his words. Richard Lee said, All right, let's leave this matter here. Everything will be decided when we reach the capital. At the same time, outside the provincial governor's mansion, Vivian May stood waiting angrily, her eyes constantly looking inside. When she saw me, she immediately strode over. But when she was about to rush up and settle the score, she discovered a scene that shocked her. Behind me were Richard Lee and Tyler Reed, and their attitudes were very friendly. On the day of Bradley May's celebration banquet, she had seen these two people with her own eyes. One was the provincial governor of Northbrook. The other came from a Marshall Saint family in the capital. Why was Michael May walking with them? Vivian May was full of doubts. Although she already hated me, combined with what just happened at the May family, she was so angry she wanted to rush up and beat me. But growing up in the May family, she wasn't someone easily blinded by anger. More importantly, looking at the attitudes of Richard Lee and Tyler Reed, they seemed somewhat wary and respectful toward me. Hateful! Vivian May gritted her teeth, suppressing her impulse to charge forward. You guys can head back, I said indifferently, then walked away from the provincial governor's mansion by myself. Richard Lee and Tyler Reed nodded and retreated. Not walking very far, I stopped in a deserted alley. Following me for so long, aren't you tired? With my current spiritual power, It was enough to cover the entire Spirit Vale city. How could I not know Vivian May was sneaking behind me? Vivian May stepped out, sneered, and said with a face full of anger, "What is your relationship with the provincial governor and the person from the Reed family in the capital? Who exactly are you?" She looked at me with deep suspicion. The provincial governor and the person from a Marshall Saint family. Why were they so close to this trash brother of hers? Vivian May looked at me, feeling the difference was too immense compared to the Michael May she used to know. Hearing her question, I didn't explain, just looked at her coldly. "You followed me for so long just to say these words." Vivian May regained her senses, her face ugly. "Michael May, you've gone too far. Have you ever considered us family? Why did you make Arthur Turner refuse to cooperate with the May family?" "Refuse to cooperate with the May family?" I frowned. "Whether Arthur Turner cooperates with your family or not, what does it have to do with me?" "Still pretending!" Vivian May yelled. "Father already said it! You've been staying at the Turner family all these days. Besides you, who else could it be?" Hearing her interrogation, I felt it was even more absurd. Arthur Turner not cooperating with the May family, why blame it on me? Incomprehensible. I was too lazy to think further. "If you're sick, go get treated. Don't act crazy here. I don't have time to play with you." After saying that, I turned around and prepared to leave. Seeing my indifferent attitude, Vivian May froze. When I first returned to the May family, I basically obeyed her and Bradley May in everything. Even though she frequently mocked me, I still sweetly called her third sister. But now I was scolding her for being sick. She didn't know that the original owner treated her well, and called her sister because he wanted to integrate into this family. But the current May family didn't consider me family at all. So why should I consider them family? "Michael May, you ungrateful wretch!" Vivian May shouted, seeing me about to leave. "Mom and Dad brought you back from the slums years ago and gave you everything. Now you don't show gratitude and even harm the May family. A favor." I stopped in my tracks, slowly turning around and walking toward her step by step. At the May family, I already made it clear. The favor of Simon May bringing me back. I repaid it in full long ago. I owe none of you anything. What do you want to do?" Vivian May's pupils contracted. She felt an indescribable aura from me. Her spiritual power seemed to be guided by some force, automatically releasing. A feeling of battle intent suddenly rose from her spiritual power. "I speak to you out of consideration for the sibling bond we had in the past," I said coldly. "You want to know who I am? Fine, I will tell you." As soon as my words fell, a powerful burst of spiritual power erupted from my body. My pupils glinted with an ash-white color. At this moment, Vivian May was completely shocked. In her eyes, my figure continuously split. 1, 2, 3, until I was completely surrounded by my figures. Not only that, she seemed to see a battlefield scene. A tall young man, with torn, blood-stained clothes standing on countless alien beast corpses, holding a long spear that pierced through an alien beast. That scene was engraved into her spirit. Then, a blurry image appeared. A group of people in military uniforms and caps wearing brilliant golden epaulets on their shoulders saluting a young man. That young man also wore dazzling golden epaulets on his shoulders. Vivian May tried to see clearly, but at the last second the image vanished. "Who was that? Could it be you?" Vivian May snapped back to reality, stammering. She didn't see clearly, but that scene was like a nightmare, deeply engraved in her spiritual power, impossible to spell. She didn't dare to believe it was me. Impossible. It can't be Michael May. At this moment, her martial arts path stagnated. My figure in that scene became her inner demon. Unless she accepted that, the person revered by 10,000 soldiers in the military was me, this inner demon would never disappear. Vivian May regained her senses and wanted to find me, but I had long since disappeared. Disheartened and dazed, she returned to the May family, still muttering, "It's not Michael May. It's definitely not." "Vivian, what's wrong?" Seeing her empty eyes, muttering lips, Bradley May hurriedly stepped forward and asked. But Vivian May seemed not to hear, walking inside like a soulless corpse. At this time, Simon May was angry because of my matters. Seeing Vivian May, his cold face softened slightly. In his eyes, whether it was Bradley May or Vivian May, both were far superior to me. Father, look at what's wrong with her. She looks like she's possessed." Bradley May followed, shouting. Simon May frowned, instantly realizing there was a problem with Vivian May's spiritual power. He hurriedly stepped forward, looking worried. A stream of spiritual energy radiated from his palm, gently pressing against Vivian May's forehead. Soon, Vivian May's eyes gradually regained clarity. "Vivian, what happened?" Simon May asked anxiously. I don't know. Vivian May shook her head. She wanted to say my name, but as soon as she thought of it, the bloody battlefield and brilliant glory appeared in her mind. That image was like a ghost, impossible to dispel, causing her spiritual power to lose control. Simon May, seeing this, shouted angrily, "In Northbrook, who dares to touch Simon May's daughter? Do they want to die? Vivian, go back to your room and rest. Don't be afraid. Wait until father catches that person. You can deal with them however you want." Vivian May nodded, her eyes terrified as she returned to her room. Bradley May's face was also gloomy. "Father, what happened to her?" Simon May said coldly. "Someone forcefully used spiritual power to carve a memory into Vivian's head. This memory is terrifying and has become her inner demon." His face, rarely losing control, was distorted with anger. "What? Doesn't that mean Vivian's martial arts path is at risk of halting?" Who is so vicious? Bradley May's face changed. In martial arts, besides talent, the martial arts heart is also extremely important. If the martial arts heart is destroyed, no matter how strong the talent, it is useless. Simon May said in a deep voice, "It hasn't reached that serious a level yet. Wait until I find that person and kill them on the spot. It will help Vivian erase her inner demon." His blood chi fluctuated, his breathing like rolling thunder. He was rarely this angry. Bradley May pondered, then suddenly realized. "Father." When Vivian returned, she was muttering eldest brother. "What? It's that little beast." Simon May was both shocked and furious. He actually dared to attack his own sister. He narrowed his eyes and ordered someone to go to the Turner family to tell Michael May to crawl back here tomorrow. "I'll go immediately." Bradley May nodded, accepting the task at once. In reality, I didn't destroy Vivian May's martial arts heart. I only told the truth, but she refused to believe it, leading to this situation. This was also within my expectations. Vivian May looked down on me. How could she believe my current identity? Whenever she accepted the truth, the inner demon would naturally disappear. Simon May acted very fast. I had just returned to the Turner family when people from the May family arrived to notify me. I pondered. It was certain that Vivian May had returned to the May family. I knew exactly why they called me back. But I was too lazy to explain. "Eldest young master." "No, Michael May." The patriarch made it clear. "If you don't return tomorrow, don't blame him for disregarding the father-son bond," the messenger said. "Disregarding the father-son bond?" I laughed out loud. If he regarded the father-son bond, would he have said those words that day? "Go back and tell Simon May the May family and I have no more ties." "I won't go. If he wants to look for me, tell him to come find me himself." The May family people returned and reported back. After hearing it, Simon May angrily slammed his hand on the table. The table instantly shattered into pieces. "This little beast thinks I can't do anything to him? Fine, I will personally go." Simon May stood up coldly. Bradley May also followed. At this moment, he was also extremely angry. No matter what, I shouldn't have attacked my own sister. Before long, the Turner family became lively. In the grand hall, as soon as Simon May entered, he went straight to the point. "Where is Michael May? Tell him to roll out and see me." Arthur Turner's expression changed slightly. "General May, this is the Turner family, not the May family." Simon May sneered. "Arthur Turner, normally I can give you face, but today, that little beast dared to attack his sister. I'm not giving face to anyone." Hearing this, Arthur Turner's face turned extremely ugly. He realized Simon May was truly enraged. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said these words. But the Turner family was a martial arts family with some foundation. Arthur Turner was about to speak, but a voice rang out from the door. "Old Master Turner, they are looking for me. Don't put yourself in a difficult position." I walked in calmly. Seeing me, Bradley May immediately stepped forward, his eyes icy cold, filled with killing intent. "Michael May, that day you rebelliously defied father, and today you attacked Vivian. Do you have any humanity left? She is your biological sister." I frowned and replied indifferently. "Don't speak so harshly. I didn't do anything to her. If you don't know, doesn't your father know? Moreover, I consider her a sister, but does she consider me a brother?" Simon May, hearing this, was so angry his breathing became uneven. "Even though I cut off ties that day, am I no longer your father?" He was angry because I kept referring to him as your father. But just as I said, Vivian May's condition hadn't reached the point where she couldn't step into martial arts for her whole life. "You beast! You dare speak to father like that?" Bradley May shouted, his aura freezing cold. "Today, I will teach you a lesson." He stepped forward, his eyes icy. Simon May didn't stop him. After all, Bradley May taking action was better than him. Avoiding a scene of father and son fighting, he was very confident in Bradley May. I glanced at him indifferently, immediately realizing that Bradley May was an acquired martial artist at this age. Reaching this realm, his martial arts talent was indeed not bad. But unfortunately, the person standing in front of him was Michael May. Bradley May lunged forward as fast as lightning, throwing a punch at my face. The wind howled, nearly tearing the air. The power of an acquired martial artist's punch could reach 10,000 caddies, enough to shatter a building. Facing this overwhelming punch, I stood calmly without moving. This made Bradley May smug. Among the younger generation in Northbrook, his martial arts ranked at the top. His good brother seemed to be scared stiff. But the next moment, Bradley May's eyes froze. The punch he was so proud of actually missed. My figure had disappeared at an unknown time. He couldn't even clearly see me move. Not only Bradley May, but Simon May standing by was also shocked. When Bradley May's punch was about to hit me, he seemed to see a blurry phantom brush past. Right after, a sound of tearing wind rang out. A terrifying blood chi radiated, causing the air in the space to thicken, accompanied by a faint smell of blood. A suffocating feeling rose in his throat. "Not good?" Simon May's face changed. He felt the power of this punch of mine. It wasn't just 10,000 caddies. I'm afraid it was 100,000 caddies. With Bradley May's current strength, taking this hit would put him in bed for at least a month. Simon May wanted to intervene to save him, but my speed was too fast. So fast that in the blink of an eye, before Simon May could act, a tragic scream rang out. Bradley May, his eyes full of disbelief, was sent flying backward. He fell to the ground, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. He tried to stand up, but his entire body felt as if his bones were shattered. Every movement brought a bone-deep, agonizing pain. Seeing this, Simon May cared nothing about father and son fighting or face anymore. He immediately thrust his hand toward me. This palm strike came from a grandmaster, so powerful that if Bradley May's punch could shatter a buildings, Simon May's palm strike was enough to level an entire city. As the commander-in-chief guarding a region, his strength could be imagined. Facing this palm, I didn't retreat but advanced, taking a step forward and throwing a punch in response. Boom! A massive explosion rang out. Dust flew everywhere, and the entire Turner family estate seemed to shake. Simon May, you and I have no more ties, I said coldly. You called me a beast, but I see you are the biggest beast. Do I need to make public everything you've done? After throwing the punch, I looked at him calmly. Simon May was completely stunned. Not only was his palm strike blocked by me, but his arm was also trembling, and that wasn't all. The aura from me made him feel like he was falling into an abyss. If Simon May's aura was like Mount Tai pressing down making people breathless, then my aura was like a great river, a deep sea that couldn't be fathomed. Rebellious son, you dare fight back? Simon May, both shocked and angry, shouted loudly. He was shocked by my strength and angry at my attitude. Although I had acted tough at the May family, he only thought it was because I took my brother's place for 3 years and couldn't accept him taking my military merits, hence daring to defy him. But he didn't expect I would now dare to raise a hand against him. My biological father. Is your brain sick too? I replied coldly. That day I made it clear. I am cutting all ties with the May family. The person you should be calling rebellious son is the one lying on the ground over there. I glanced at Bradley May with disdain. Simon May finally noticed Bradley May lying on the ground, his breathing weak. His face instantly changed, his body trembling with anger. Good, very good. I didn't expect that beneath that obedient exterior years ago hide a beast. I truly regret bringing you back. I should have let you fend for yourself in the slums. Even though he said that, he clearly felt the power of my punch. If we really fought, who would win or lose was uncertain. If we went all out, the entire Spiritvale city would suffer a disaster. Being a person of status, firstly for the May family's face, and secondly for fear of me exposing his plan from years ago and ruining his reputation, he held back. Arthur Turner, hearing this, stepped forward and said, General May, these words are incorrect. Years ago, when alien beasts invaded, you let your eldest son wander outside. That was originally your fault. The proverb says, to give birth but not raise. Is in vain to be human. You bringing him back was the responsibility of parents, not a favor. Simon May's face turned green and white. Finally, he just sneered, hastily checking on Bradley May's condition. You are truly vicious, he said coldly after examining him. You knew your brother is about to take the martial arts exam, yet you beat him like this. You clearly want to destroy his future. Just now he called me a beast. Now I'm a brother, I mercilessly exposed. Why don't you ask him if, since the day I returned to the May family, he has ever called me eldest brother? How could Simon May not know about this? Since I returned, Vivian May and Bradley May never respected me, let alone call me eldest brother. But he always turned a blind eye, thinking that since I just returned and hadn't integrated yet, it would be fine over time. But waiting until now, even he forgot that Bradley May and Vivian May had never called me brother once. Perhaps he had grown used to it. Simon May said nothing, his face livid, his heart full of complex emotions. He took Bradley May and left the Turner family estate. Returning to the May family, Simon May hastily checked Bradley May's injuries. The martial arts exam was approaching. There couldn't be any mistakes. What happened? How is he so heavily injured? Lily had just returned and seeing Bradley May covered in blood hurriedly ran over and asked anxiously. Simon May said angrily, it was none other than your good son who was so ruthless. Right before the martial arts exam, he beat Bradley like this. He clearly doesn't want his brother to do well. If it wasn't for my bizarre strength making him feel pressured, he would have suppressed me on the spot, made me kneel before the May family gates for 3 days and 3 nights. But he was still doubtful. Why was my martial arts so strong? Lily took some elixir pills and healing liquid and stuffed them into Bradley May's mouth. Surprised, she said. Michael did this. Bradley was beaten by Michael. The Stone Corporation specialized in researching medicines for martial artists. Although Bradley May's injuries were severe, if they were willing to spend money, he could still recover before the martial arts exam. If not him, then who? Simon May grew angrier the more he thought about it. That little beast's wings have hardened. He even dared to lay a hand on me. Lily sighed. What did you do to provoke Michael again? She originally thought that in a few days when my anger subsided I would return, but she didn't expect things to get worse and more complicated. Provoke him? I was the one being provoked by him, Simon May yelled. Lily didn't say more, checked Bradley May's condition, and breathed a sigh of relief. The injuries are severe, but I will bring some medicine from the company. It won't affect the exam. Simon May finally felt relieved, but his anger didn't decrease. This rebellious son is determined to break ties with the May family. If that's the case, don't look for him anymore. Let him fend for himself. Even though my words today made him emotional, realizing his 2 children had never considered me an older brother, as a father, how could he bow his head to his son, even if he was wrong, even if it was his fault. Lily sat there silently. Things were increasingly spiraling out of control. Although she wasn't present today, from Simon May's anger, she knew that if this continued, father and son would sooner or later become enemies. As a mother, she already felt guilty toward me, and didn't want things to reach this point. But if she did nothing, she feared she would lose her eldest son forever. 100 miles from Spiritville, a majestic mountain range stretched out. At the foot of the mountain was a small village. Several sturdy men carrying farming tools with rolled-up trousers were preparing to head home, talking as they walked. What's been going on lately? When I sleep at night, I feel a chill down my spine, like someone is watching me. Tell me about it. I've had that feeling too. I heard a catacomb with alien beasts appeared in the mountains. No wonder I keep feeling uneasy. But don't worry. The demon-quelling army has arrived, led by at least a Grand Master. Before the words faded, a massive explosion rang out in the mountains. Rubble flew into the sky, dust blinded the eyes, and black smoke billowed, covering the sky like dark clouds. A voice from the demon-quelling army echoed, "Retreat! All villagers, retreat immediately!" A demon-quelling army. Lieutenant Colonel dashed out from deep within the mountains, landing at the village entrance, his figure cold and stern. "Sir, what happened in there? Why are you suddenly telling us to retreat?" a sturdy man asked. The lieutenant colonel replied coldly, "The alien beasts inside exceed our expectations. If you don't want to die, leave immediately." Hearing that even the demon-quelling army couldn't handle it, the men didn't dare say more, hurriedly dragging their families to flee the village. The lieutenant colonel gave an order. "Contact military headquarters immediately. This catacomb is not just double S rank, it might be higher. Request additional troops for suppression, and invite a spiritual master to reassess the catacomb's level." After saying that, he turned and stepped back deep into the mountains. In the mountain range was a basin. In the middle of the basin was a pitch-black cave, its bottom unseen. One alien beast emerging from the catacomb had already caused heavy losses for the army. This was just one. Who said this was double S rank? The lieutenant colonel's face was ugly, but he didn't hesitate to step into the basin. At the training grounds of the Holy Martial Academy in the capital, Diana Turner closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. Her spiritual world turned ash-white. Everything around her seemed to play in slow motion, every detail magnified. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, her bright eyes shining with excitement. "My spiritual power has finally broken through the bottleneck." Before she could celebrate, a voice called out from afar, "Diana! Diana!" A person wearing golden epaulets on her shoulders, clearly a major general, walked over. Diana Turner was surprised. "Teacher, why did you come here personally?" General Chloe Reed went straight to the point. "I just received a mission to survey a catacomb in Spiritvale. I suddenly remembered you, little girl. Interested in following me back to take a look?" "Spiritvale?" Diana Turner muttered. "In the Turner family's villa, after finishing dealing with the May family's matters, I remained here, thinking about my next plan." I opened the door and walked out, intending to bid farewell to Arthur Turner and then return to the military zone. After hearing this, Arthur Turner smiled and said, "Little friend, although your injuries are mostly healed, and the toxins are cleared, there's still a risk of relapse." I frowned. "Old master, the toxins in my body have been completely removed. Why would they relapse?" Arthur Turner shook his head. "This toxin is a relic of human history, originating from bizarre things from outer space. It's better to be careful." I nodded in agreement. Those words made sense. The alien tribes were indeed bizarre. Arthur Turner continued, "Next is a medicine to protect your heart meridian, and simultaneously alter the genes in your body to create antibodies. If you encounter this kind of toxin again in the future, you will be immune. Furthermore, the genetic alteration will also increase your regenerative abilities." I was amazed. "Increase regenerative abilities? You mean like in sci-fi movies, severed limbs growing back?" Arthur Turner shook his head as if seeing through my thoughts. "Not to that extent. It just speeds up the healing of wounds." I nodded. "Then I will trouble you, old master." Arthur Turner took out a white porcelain medicine bottle from a dimensional space and handed it to me. "If you absorb it well, the effects might be even more astonishing." I took it, went into my room, and poured out a pill the size of a fingernail. Without thinking much, I swallowed it immediately. The next second my body felt like it was undergoing earth-shattering changes. An intense pain spread throughout my body, as if something was being crushed and reassembled. I didn't dare think further, circulating my breathing technique and entering a profound state of enlightenment. Soon, the violent changes stopped. I opened my eyes. Around my body, wind howled, lightning intertwined, and ice and fire flowed. Taking a deep breath, my eyes still showed lingering shock. Withered wood meets spring, displaying miraculous vitality. I comprehended a type of rebirth martial art from this. Even in the era of martial arts, such a thing was unheard of. With this ability, no matter how severe the injury, I could quickly recover. Even severed limbs could grow back in a short time. I looked at my hand, deep in thought. Of course, I wasn't crazy enough to cut off my own hand to test it. If this martial art wasn't fully perfected, wouldn't I be shooting myself in the foot? A small knife appeared and slashed a cut on my hand. Before blood could flow, the wound had already closed. I clenched my fists excitedly. This effect was too heaven-defying. It seemed to have truly reached complete regeneration. Seeing me come out of the room, Arthur Turner smiled and asked, "How is it?" I nodded. Absorbed well. I didn't reveal the matter of comprehending rebirth. Arthur Turner was satisfied. Good. Now you can leave with peace of mind. If you encounter this toxin again later, you have absolutely nothing to fear. I nodded, about to say something, but my phone rang again. Glancing at it, I directly blacklisted the number. Arthur Turner chuckled lightly, then continued, "Oh right, my granddaughter called back a few days ago saying she's returning to Northbrook." Hearing this, I secretly sighed. It seemed there was no avoiding it, but thinking again, during these days at the Turner family, Arthur Turner had helped me a lot. He had already spoken up. I couldn't just leave like that. Remaining silent for a moment, I said, "All right then, I will stay for a while longer." At the same time, on the outskirts of the mountain range not far from Spirit Vale, there were no traces of ordinary people. With the unexpected situation occurring, the place was filled with the solemn atmosphere and sharp aura of a military encampment. Due to the appearance of a powerful alien beast, the number of demon-quelling army guards had doubled, surrounding the place tightly. From afar, a specially made helicopter flew over at extreme speed. The person sitting on it was a major figure from the Holy Martial Academy in the capital. Hearing the engine noise, a lieutenant colonel walked out from the encampment. This person was Cameron Stone, the very person previously in charge of evacuating the civilians, and also Samantha Stone's biological brother. He was the eldest son of the Stone family in Northbrook, currently the captain of Vanguard Squad 72 of the Northbrook Demon-Quelling Army. This catacomb was under his jurisdiction. When the helicopter landed, a woman in a light blue military uniform stepped down. Beside her was a young girl. Cameron Stone recognized her at a glance. The young girl was Diana Turner, the genius of the Turner family, who entered the Holy Martial Academy 2 years ago. Why did she return, and why was she traveling with someone from the military department? But thinking again, those who entered Holy Martial were all geniuses, future spearheads on the battlefield. So early connections with the military department weren't strange. Cameron Stone stepped forward and initiated the conversation. "I am Cameron Stone, in charge of this area. You are here to inspect the Catacomb, correct?" Chloe Reed nodded, asking as she walked inside, "What is the current situation of the Catacomb?" Cameron Stone followed, reporting, "Initially we evaluated it as double S rank, but a few days ago, a Grandmaster-level alien beast suddenly appeared. Occasionally alien beasts still surface. We currently don't know the exact number and the level of the strongest one." Chloe Reed stopped and looked toward the mountain range. "Has a spiritual system martial artist surveyed it yet?" Cameron Stone shook his head, looking grave. "No, our spiritual system martial artists can't probe from the outside. There seems to be something blocking spiritual power." Chloe Reed frowned. "Then there are only two possibilities. Either the number of alien beasts is too large, forming a domain that blocks spiritual power, or the level of the alien beasts inside exceeds Grandmaster." Hearing this, Cameron Stone's expression changed slightly. "Exceeds Grandmaster? Doesn't that mean there are true dragon-level alien beasts?" Realizing the severity of the issue, he hurriedly asked, "Is there any way to determine the level now? If it exceeds double S rank, we must prepare immediately." Chloe Reed said, "Prepare a helicopter to take me above the catacomb." Before long, the helicopter took off and flew deep into the mountain range. Looking down from above, the catacomb looked like a giant black hole. Black smoke drifted out, making it look even more eerie. Arriving above it, Chloe Reed's face instantly turned serious. This place was weirder than she thought. When she released her spiritual power to probe, she was also blocked by an invisible force. She frowned, her voice heavy. "Strange. Even I can't probe it." Cameron Stone was shocked. "What? Even a spiritual system Grandmaster can't probe it? What exactly is this catacomb?" Chloe Reed pondered, withdrawing her spiritual power. "What is the highest level of martial artist in the encampment right now?" Cameron Stone replied. "A level 7 Grandmaster. That is me." Chloe Reed shook her head. "A Grandmaster is not enough. I need at least a great Grandmaster level martial artist. Go down with me to check the catacombs level from the inside." Cameron Stone almost didn't think before refusing outright. "No way. The catacombs level is unknown. We sent several teams in before, but none came back. It's too dangerous." Even if I agreed, General May wouldn't agree. Chloe Reed sighed helplessly. "Then let's head back first. I'll think of another way." In the encampment, Chloe Reed tried multiple methods, but her spiritual power still couldn't penetrate the catacomb. Every time she got close, it felt like an invisible force blocked her. She withdrew her spiritual power, feeling powerless. "No good. If we want to know clearly about the catacomb, the only way is to probe from the inside." Cameron Stone sighed. "If there is no other way, I can only request support from the military headquarters. But the chances of success are not high." Chloe Reed nodded. "I will stay in Northbrook for the next few days and will continue trying, but I'm afraid the result will be the same." Cameron Stone nodded and began reporting the situation to military headquarters. Chloe Reed stood up. "I have other matters to attend to. If there's any news, remember to notify me." On the way to Spirit Vale, Diana Turner asked curiously, "Teacher, if we don't get support, how will this catacomb be handled?" Chloe Reed pondered. "Use heavy firepower to completely destroy the catacomb." Diana Turner looked worried. "If that happens, Northbrook will become a new battlefield, no longer suitable for human habitation. This was where she grew up, so she was even more worried than Chloe Reed. Chloe Reed remained calm, but her voice deepened. Therefore, the best method is to determine the Catacomb's level and prepare countermeasures. But the military headquarters might not agree. Seeing the heavy atmosphere, Chloe Reed joked, "I heard your grandfather found you a marriage prospect. Are you planning to meet him since you returned this time?" Diana Turner blushed and muttered, "Teacher, don't tease me." Chloe Reed laughed. "Don't worry, you are a genius of holy martial. If that person doesn't satisfy me, I will be the first to object." Chatting and laughing along the way, the two quickly arrived at Spiritvale. Chloe Reed and Diana Turner arrived at the Turner family estate. Arthur Turner was tending to the flowers and grass. Hearing the noise, his whole body trembled, and a genuine smile bloomed from the bottom of his heart. "Diana, you're back." Diana Turner ran over, supporting Arthur Turner into the hall, and introduced, "Grandpa, this is my teacher. She happened to have a mission in Northbrook and dropped by to visit you." Chloe Reed smiled and greeted, "Hello, Old Master Turner. I am Chloe Reed, currently a spiritual system instructor at Holy Martial." Arthur Turner nodded, feeling amazed inwardly. Looking at Chloe Reed, she was only about 28 or 29, yet she was already a major general. But thinking again, his family currently hosted an even more heaven-defying military genius. He asked caringly, "How are things at Holy Martial, Diana? Are you used to it? Has anyone bullied you?" Chloe Reed quietly observed, understanding the Turner family's situation, so she didn't interrupt. She left the hall intending to take a stroll. Suddenly, she saw a familiar figure, awakening old memories that made her freeze. "I heard the commotion outside, and was about to go see. I didn't notice Chloe Reed standing nearby, but I felt a gaze looking at me. Turning around, I saw Chloe Reed staring at me in shock. I frowned, feeling this person was somewhat familiar, but the memory was too blurry. Recall immediately." Chloe Reed was stunned for a long time before she snapped back to reality, her voice trembling. "General May, so it's you." I frowned, my gaze strange. "Do we know each other?" Chloe Reed was excited. "Don't you remember? Half a year ago, in the 3rd Eastern War Zone, you saved a helicopter from the abyss." Hearing this, I pondered. With a specific time and place, I quickly remembered. "So it was you," I said. "I thought you looked familiar. A year ago on the Eastern Front Line, a small squad riding a helicopter was affected by an abyss and almost got sucked in. At that time, I had just finished a mission and was on my way back. Feeling the aura, I casually saved the helicopter. Chloe Reed was one of the people on it." Chloe Reed nodded happily. "Yes, I didn't get to thank you in time back then." I waved my hand. "It was a small matter, but what are you doing here?" Chloe Reed recounted the incident. I nodded. "I see. Meaning the Catacombs level hasn't been determined yet." Chloe Reed looked helpless. "Exactly. Now the only way is to probe from the inside. Otherwise, the military headquarters might use nuclear weapons." I nodded, understanding the consequences of nuclear weapons. "But if you want to probe from the inside, the military headquarters definitely won't agree easily. Because the risk is too high," I said indifferently. "If you want to go down, I can go with you." Chloe Reed's eyes lit up. "Really?" But then she looked worried. "Do we need to notify the military headquarters? This catacomb is too dangerous." I smiled faintly. "With me here, what are you afraid of? Moreover, I don't represent the military headquarters." If someone else had said that, Chloe Reed might not have cared. But the person in front of her wore genuine golden epaulets on his shoulders. She shook her head, putting away her worries. "With you, I feel at ease." "Then when do we leave?" "I do things without dragging them out." "Anytime. I'll go tell the old master." Entering the hall, I saw Diana Turner sitting next to Arthur Turner. Diana Turner also looked toward the door. Our eyes met. I was slightly stunned, but quickly looked away. "Old master, I have some matters to attend to outside. I'll be back soon." Arthur Turner smiled warmly in a good mood. "Go, go! Remember to come back for dinner." I nodded and walked out. After I left, Arthur Turner looked at Diana Turner. "How is it? Your grandfather's eye for people is good, right?" Diana Turner blushed and didn't say anything. Exiting the Turner family estate, Chloe Reed and I prepared to head to the Catacomb. A white car stopped nearby and the door opened. Lily, looking elegant, stepped down and called out softly, "Michael." I frowned, ignored her, and brushed past. Lily reached out to grab me, but her hands stiffened, her heart trembling. She stayed silent for a moment, then stepped forward, her voice low. "Michael, are you still angry with me?" I glanced at her coldly. "You and I don't know each other. Why would I be angry with you?" After saying that, I walked away, without bothering to look back. At that moment, the words Lily had prepared choked in her throat, unable to be spoken. Just like I said that day, from now on we had no ties, and now I truly acted on it. This feeling made Lily's heart feel like it was being pierced by needles. Her face pale, she sat back in the car, looked in the direction I disappeared, and stepped on the gas to follow. On the way to the Catacomb, Chloe Reed saw Lily but didn't ask much. I tossed the matter from just now to the back of my mind. After a moment of silence, I asked who was the girl at the Turner family. Chloe Reed replied, "Diana Turner, Old Master Turner's granddaughter." Hearing this, I showed a subtle expression. So it was her. But I had made a promise to Arthur Turner, so I didn't mind. As long as she was willing, it was fine. Seeing my calm expression, Chloe Reed was puzzled. Why was it so complicated? When facing the abyss, I didn't even frown. Before long, we arrived at the demon-quelling army encampment. Cameron Stone had just reported to the military headquarters, but as expected was flatly refused. Under unclear circumstances, the military headquarters absolutely would not let a great Grand Master and a spiritual system Grand Master risk going down the catacomb. Cameron Stone walked out of the encampment dejected. Right then he saw two figures approaching from outside. One of them was Chloe Reed, who hadn't left long ago. Cameron Stone's eyes lit up. Had this spiritual system Grand Master found a way? He stepped forward. Chloe Reed waved her hand, her voice excited. "How is it? Have people arrived?" Cameron Stone hurriedly walked it over, his face full of anticipation. "Have people arrived? Did the military headquarters send a chief? Are they going down the catacomb with me now?" Chloe Reed lowered her voice. Cameron Stone froze and glanced behind her. A young man was standing not far away, gazing intently deep into the mountain range, as if sensing something. Cameron Stone was stunned for a long time. A chief? This young? Moreover, why did this face look familiar? "Did you hear me? Hurry up and prepare a helicopter to take us over." Seeing him dazed, Chloe Reed kicked him lightly. "Yes, I'll arrange it right away." Cameron Stone was startled and hurriedly replied. He didn't think much further. Chloe Reed was a major general. The person she called chief was definitely not ordinary. It seemed the military headquarters was prepared. "Squad 4, escort the two chiefs to the catacomb," Cameron Stone shouted. Before long, a helicopter took off and flew deep into the mountain range. As we approached the catacomb, I immediately sensed waves of powerful auras, all at the Grand Master level. It seemed this wasn't a double S-rank catacomb. Otherwise, how could there be so many Grand Master level alien beasts? But this was even better. I had another chance to earn rewards. "Chiefs, we have arrived. Should we lower the altitude?" A demon-quelling army soldier up front reminded. I glanced down and shook my head. No need. As soon as the words left my mouth, I pulled Chloe Reed and jumped down, diving straight into the catacomb under everyone's astonished gazes. "Oh my God!" A demon-quelling army soldier was dumbfounded. "Just jump down like that. Truly worthy of being a chief," the others exclaimed. Going into a catacomb was like going home to him, jumping down on a whim. This was the aura of a true big shot. Chloe Reed was also quite frightened by my action, holding tightly onto me, not daring to let go. I don't know how long we fell before we finally hit the ground. The damp environment and dark space of the catacomb brought a suffocating, uncomfortable feeling. With a thought, flames burst forth, swirling around me, illuminating the surroundings. "How is it? Can you probe it?" I took a few steps, then turned back and asked Chloe Reed. "No," she shook her head. "This is only the first floor. Spiritual power still can't penetrate. We probably have to go deeper." I nodded and pulled her further down. After we left, this floor was completely engulfed by flames. Usually, catacombs don't exceed 40 floors. The deeper you go, the higher the alien beast's level, and the danger multiplies. Reaching the 20th floor, I stopped. It seemed this catacomb was at least triple S rank. Grand Master level alien beasts had already appeared on the 20th floor. I looked ahead and said calmly, "Up ahead, dozens of Grand Master level alien beasts are staring at us." I stepped forward, the flames around me burning fiercely. A long saber materialized in my hand and I slashed. A saber gleam flashed, carrying raging flames toward the pack of alien beasts. In just a moment, the alien beasts were chopped into pieces, then burned to ashes by the flames. These Grandmaster alien beasts couldn't withstand a single blow from a peak Great Grandmaster like me. At the same time, the system's voice rang in my head. It had been a long time since I heard the reward announcements. I didn't pay much attention, putting away my saber and continuing forward. Even though it was a Grandmaster level skill, to me right now, the improvement was too small. "Definitely not just this." Chloe Reed focused her spirit. "My spiritual power can penetrate now. There are indeed great Grandmaster level alien beasts inside, but they are on the 30th floor. Hearing this, I frowned. "Then what is on the 40th floor?" Chloe Reed nodded. "Exactly, but the specific level and numbers, we'll only know if we go down 10 more floors." Up to here, she understood why spiritual system martial artists couldn't probe the catacomb. Based on the spiritual power fluctuations from the 40th floor, it might be an alien tribe from a spatial rift. If so, it was a massive problem. Ever since the spatial rifts appeared, no alien tribe had ever appeared in human-populated areas. "Then let's keep going down," I said indifferently. "Just a few great Grandmaster level alien beasts. I can still handle them, but I'm not sure what's on the 40th floor." Chloe Reed looked worried. "If there's danger, as long as it's not a martial saint, there's absolutely no problem." I drew my saber, my expression calm. Chloe hesitated, then nodded and followed me deeper. Before long, the Grandmaster alien beasts were cleared out. We reached the 30th floor. Knowing this place was dangerous, Chloe Reed hurriedly released her spiritual power to continue probing, while I dealt with the great Grandmaster alien beasts. Suddenly, she screamed, "This catacomb exceeds triple S rank. Not good. Retreat." By now, Chloe Reed was sweating profusely. She clearly discovered something terrifying on the 40th floor. With a flash of the saber, I cut an alien beast in half and turned around. "Exceeds triple S rank? There's an alien beast down there equivalent to a true dragon martial artist?" "Yes, but I'm not sure if it's a beast." Chloe Reed nodded, her face heavy. "Its spiritual power is very strong. What about the specific numbers?" I asked, my expression unchanged. With my current strength, even against a true dragon martial artist, I could put up a fight. Chloe Reed shook her head. This catacomb is weird. Its spiritual power fluctuation is stronger than even a spiritual system grandmaster. I can't probe accurately, but it's definitely at least triple S rank, maybe even higher. I hesitated, considering whether to go down further. Before I could speak, from deep within the catacomb, a black shadow dozens of meters long shot out like a deep-sea monster docking through the water. It opened its massive mouth, attempting to swallow both of us whole. When the black shadow appeared, the entire catacomb shook violently. All the alien beasts rioted. Rubble fell, and the cave opening above was about to collapse completely. My eyes lit up and I shouted, "Retreat first! I can handle this alien beast, but I must get Chloe Reed out first." The situation in the catacomb was complex. If anything went wrong, I would be distracted. Chloe Reed understood perfectly. Even though she was a spiritual system grandmaster, here she wasn't as useful as a combat martial artist. Moreover, with an alien beast exceeding great grandmaster, her staying would only be a burden. She took a deep breath, looked at the cave opening that hadn't completely collapsed, and jumped up. I unleashed a burst of astral wind, delivering a palm strike. A massive pushing force caused Chloe Reed to disappear instantly. At the same time, the alien beast's bloody maw arrived before me, swallowing all the alien beast corpses on the ground before retreating deep into the catacomb. The 30th floor returned to silence. After the alien beast appeared, all the alien beasts above rioted. The mountain range shook and the catacomb collapsed at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Not good! The alien beasts are rioting!" The squad waiting on the helicopter saw this scene, their hearts sinking. "The two chiefs are still inside. Did you notify the captain to call for backup?" A squad member nodded. Right then, a figure leaped out of the catacomb, grabbing tightly onto the helicopter's landing gear. "What happened? Where is the other chief?" a squad member asked. Chloe Reed's face was unprecedentedly cold. "Return and report to military headquarters. The catacomb exceeds triple S rank. The chief is still down there. Tell the military headquarters to dispatch rescue immediately." Cameron Stone was stunned upon seeing only Chloe Reed return. It was the first time he had seen her this serious. Not daring to ask further, he hurriedly rushed into the encampment to report. In the martial arts grand hall of the Northbrook Military Department, Simon May sat alongside many demon-quelling army officers. Before them was real-time satellite imagery of the catacomb. As the commander-in-chief of the demon-quelling army, Simon May couldn't help but pay attention to this development. A division commander put down his phone. "News from the front line. The catacomb might riot. Cameron Stone is requesting additional demon-quelling army support. Furthermore, he says a chief from the military headquarters is still inside the catacomb." Simon May asked about the level. The division commander's face was heavy. According to the spiritual system Grand Master from the military headquarters, it exceeds triple S rank. A catacomb of this level appearing in a human-populated area for the first time was a disaster for Northbrook and a life-or-death test for the demon-quelling army. Hearing the level, Simon May's cold face rarely showed a look of terror. He quickly gave orders. "Dispatch Battle Line 379 and the 358th Division to the catacomb." The division commander nodded and asked, "And what about the chief from the military headquarters down there?" "They requested rescue troops." Simon May remained silent for a moment. "Has their identity been confirmed?" "Not yet. Probably someone who came with Chloe Reed," the division commander replied. Simon May sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Every battlefield has casualties. If it comes to that day, even if I am ordered to personally go down, I wouldn't say a word." "No." These words made the entire hall fall silent. In the military encampment, Cameron Stone received a response from the military department and immediately reported it to Chloe Reed. Chloe Reed almost lost control. "What? The Northbrook Military Department only came up with this plan. Do they know who is down there? If something happens to him, how massive of a loss would it be for the military department?" But upon calming down, she realized the military department's plan wasn't unreasonable. Every battlefield has casualties. Every day on the front lines, countless people lose their lives. The strongest person in the Northbrook Military Department was Simon May, a peak Great Grand Master, just one step away from the true dragon realm. Going down a catacomb of this level was indeed difficult. The only way was to report to the general military headquarters and request a powerhouse to be dispatched. But even for a true dragon martial artist, the journey would take half a day, and dispatching a martial sense was likely unfeasible. Cameron Stone sighed. "This is the military department's decision. I cannot change it. Now we can only hope that Chief can hold on." Suddenly, a commotion rang out outside the encampment. "Madam, this place is in a state of combat readiness. You cannot enter." Cameron Stone glanced at Chloe Reed, hesitated, then stepped outside. The person standing there was none other than Lily, Madam of the May family, head of the May Corporation, known to almost everyone in Northbrook. Cameron Stone stepped forward and waved for the guards to step back. "Madam, this place is in combat readiness. What are you doing here?" Lily looked inside anxiously. "Looking for my son. Make them get out of the way." She had planned to wait for me to come out, but the catacombs riot and the skyrocketing danger made it impossible for her to sit still. Cameron Stone frowned, recalling the people who had recently come and gone. Bradley May was about to take the martial arts exam and was at home preparing, not at the front line. Lily coldly glared at the guard. Michael May. I am looking for him. Hearing this name, Cameron Stone was surprised, but then suddenly realized. Michael May, the eldest son of the May family, who once had an engagement with his younger sister, but didn't this person disappear 3 years ago, and only recently return? Cameron Stone had a strange expression. Michael May is not here, madam. Perhaps you have the wrong place? Seeing Lily ignoring him and walking in on her own, Cameron Stone had no choice but to follow and advise her. Madam, a battle might break out here. You should leave. Otherwise it will be hard for me to explain to General May. Lily didn't pay attention, and immediately saw Chloe Reed standing not far away. She hurried over, tense. Where is my son? He was just with you, right? These words made Cameron Stone freeze. The person who went with Chloe Reed, wasn't that just the chief? Michael May is the chief? How could he be the chief? Cameron Stone vaguely recalled years ago when he was at the May family, he had met me. At that time, I was just like a poor boy, from a remote countryside coming to an unfamiliar environment, acting timid and out of place. He had also heard from his sister, Samantha Stone, that I wasn't valued by the May family. At that time, he had a bit of sympathy, but thinking that his sister's future was tied to someone like me, that bit of sympathy vanished. How did I become a chief now? Chloe Reed recovered her senses, pursed her lips, her eyes flashing with a gleam. Previously, I only knew his identity in the military department. I didn't know he was the son of the May family in Northbrook. If that's the case, Simon May definitely cannot ignore this. She pursed her lips, lowered her voice. He is still in the catacomb and hasn't come out, madam. The situation right now is very bad. I know you can make General May personally come to the scene, make a decision. Hearing this, Lily's face turned pale white. Still in the catacomb? Just now the catacomb had a disturbance, and the whole city had issued an emergency alert, so she knew its level well. Hearing that I was still inside, her heart tightened. Have you informed Simon May yet? She asked. Cameron Stone replied. We have reported to the military department. They answered to dispatch troops for suppression, and not to risk going down. At this moment, Cameron Stone's mood felt like falling into an abyss. Shock and disbelief swirled in his mind. He still hadn't processed that the person Chloe Reed called chief was actually Michael May. What rank was Michael May exactly? Lieutenant General? General? He didn't dare think further. Lily slammed the table, sighed, and shouted, Give me the phone, let me call. Cameron Stone gulped and reminded her, I understand your feelings, madam, but the military department has made a decision. I hope you put the big picture first. Lily coldly glared at him, her voice like ice. I am calling Simon May, not using military resources. The person down there is his biological son. Others might not care, but Simon May cannot. Seeing Lily get angry, Cameron Stone's back broke into a cold sweat, and he hurriedly led her into the encampment to call the military department. In the Northbrook Military Department, Simon May listened to the phone, his brows furrowing and relaxing. Finally, he coldly replied, The military department has issued an order. It cannot be changed. If you want me to come as a father, I will make it clear. Right now, from beginning to end, I only have one son, Bradley May. The coldness in Simon May's voice, even over the phone she could still feel it. She suddenly remembered my words that night, and Simon May's words from the beginning. Bringing Michael May back was only to forge him into a sharp blade. At that time she thought he was only speaking in anger. But now it seemed that wasn't the case, and she herself seemed to have grown accustomed to my sacrifices and obedience. Years ago, letting me wander homeless, that debt hadn't been repaid, and then letting me enlist in place of my younger brother. She owed me too much. If she had realized it sooner and spoken a word for me that night, perhaps things wouldn't have come to this. In the catacomb, I radiated a faint blue light, observing my surroundings. It seemed I had been taken down below the 30th floor. The place I was standing was the belly of the giant alien beast. Its bloody mouth was big enough to swallow an entire house, dragging in rocks and alien beast corpses, including me. Stabilizing my mind, I drew my alloy battle saber and pierced through its belly. The alien beast let out a tragic scream as its belly was sliced open. I escaped and immediately released my spiritual power, sensing the changes around me. The spiritual fluctuations were getting larger and larger. Sure enough, there was something down below. Following the catacomb, I continued to go down. The previous location was around the 32nd floor. The further down, the stronger the alien beasts. Before long, I reached the 40th floor. The ground was covered with puddles of liquid like mercury, radiating a silver light like moonlight. I carefully observed, surprised, mithril ore, a good item for cultivating spiritual power. This was a treasure that spiritual system martial artists thirsted for. Outside, a bottle was worth billions. I didn't expect this catacomb to have it. Certainly, the fact that a spiritual system martial artist couldn't penetrate the catacomb was also related to this mithril. Thanks to the light from the mithril, I saw the space ahead distorting. Before long, the distortion disappeared and a black shadow appeared, its entire body and face wrapped in black cloth, revealing only bean-sized eyes that flickered with a demonic light. I raised my saber across my chest. Alien tribe. Everything was clear now. An alien tribe from deep space, possessing extremely strong spiritual power, able to parasitize corpses and manipulate bodies. The black shadow looked at me, its voice hollow without any emotion. You have a very familiar scent. I was calm. Then look closely. Remember my face. Next time we meet, you must bow your head. The black shadow blinked, suddenly startled, and shouted, "It's you! You aren't dead!" It was both shocked and angry. Those damn blood-sucking alien tribes, didn't they say you wouldn't live past a month? What a bunch of useless trash. I nodded disdainfully. It seems you remembered. But you won't have a next time. Flames erupted, fierce winds, lightning, and frost appeared around me. Each effect represented a great grandmaster skill. The black shadow sneered, its voice gloomy. You think you can kill me? On the battlefield. I've heard about your special physique. Now that you've delivered yourself to me, with your body my status will skyrocket. I didn't say more. The saber gleam flashed like a phantom, disappearing into the catacomb. The black shadow snorted coldly. Let's see what you are capable of. The surrounding space distorted violently. The mithril on the ground evaporated at a speed visible to the naked eye. But right after, terror appeared in the black shadow's eyes. Its spiritual power was sealed within this space, unable to lock onto my position. Billowing sand and dust hung like a sword over its head, making it hard to move. The black shadow was horrified. Sand and dust domain? You are only a great grandmaster. How is your domain this strong? I sneered. Thick skin indeed. True dragon creatures are truly hard to kill. Although my domain suppressed it, breaking its defense wasn't easy. The black shadow shouted, I advise you not to waste your effort. I have called all the alien beasts in the catacomb back. Run now, and you still have a way to survive. I nodded. Makes sense, but you still have to die. Fierce winds, lightning, and flames continuously rushed toward the black shadow. At the same time, in the military encampment, a demon-quelling army soldier stepped in and reported. Report! The alien beasts seem to have all retreated. Cameron Stone strode outside, looking toward the mountain range. Sure enough, the alien beasts had all retreated into the catacomb. The shaking sensation from the riot also gradually disappeared. Cameron Stone frowned. What's going on? Why did they suddenly retreat? A demon-quelling soldier shook his head. Unclear, but it seems they are all pulling back. Cameron Stone looked puzzled. An alien beast riot? Why would they suddenly retreat? He had never seen this before. But it didn't matter. This gave them breathing room to prepare after determining the catacomb's level. But a new problem emerged. I was still down there. If all the alien beasts retreated, my escape would be even more difficult. Lily stepped out of the encampment, listening to the conversation, her face pale. She knew that the alien beasts returning to their nest was good for Northbrook, but my chances of survival would decrease. She almost lost control, rushing toward the mouth of the catacomb. Get out of the way, I have to go over there. But how could this action be allowed? Cameron Stone turned around and sighed. Madam, calm down. In this situation, your going over there is useless and very dangerous. Despite saying that, Cameron Stone knew that after the catacomb went quiet, I was likely doomed. If there was a battle down there, they wouldn't be able to not feel it. Chloe Reed suddenly spoke up. Strange. The spiritual power down below is weakening. Lily hurriedly asked, Is there news of Michael? Chloe Reed shook her head. Not yet. But, at this rate of weakening, in half an hour, my spiritual power can probe the entire catacomb. Hearing this, the hope that had just kindled in Lily's heart was extinguished. She coldly looked at Cameron Stone. Prepare a helicopter. Take me to the catacomb. Cameron Stone wanted to stop her but didn't dare to use force against the madam of the general and the head of the May Corporation. He gritted his teeth. Squad 7, protect madam. Meanwhile, he quickly reported the situation to Simon May. Lily boarded the helicopter to get above the catacomb. The alien beasts had disappeared. The dark cave mouth showed no signs of life. In the catacomb, after dozens of great Grandmaster-level attacks, the Black Shadow's body was shattered. It roared, Michael May, you will sooner or later be eradicated by us. As soon as its words fell, a faint blue light appeared, radiating a powerful suction force attempting to flee. I narrowed my eyes, killing intent flashing. I have never been a merciful person. Showing mercy only leads to future troubles. A scream rang out as the saber gleam, carrying lightning and frost, various energies intertwined, slashed at the light. When the saber gleam hit, the light shattered like glass. The system chimed. Ding! Host has killed an alien tribe member. Obtained 1 bottle of level 10 True Dragon liquid. Double reward triggered. Obtained an additional True Dragon level martial art. Immortal cells. I rejoiced inwardly. The system was truly timely, exactly what I needed. I was at the peak of Great Grandmaster, about to break through, and the system rucked me with level 10 True Dragon liquid and a True Dragon level martial art. I glanced at Immortal cells, and a stream of information flooded my mind. Immortal cells compresses blood chi into cells, causing cells to mutate and possess boundless blood chi. During combat, these cells act like stars that never extinguish, providing continuous energy. If cultivated to the extreme, the cells can achieve true immortality. I sucked in a breath of cold air. The system was truly overpowered. Thinking so, I sat down, took out the bottle of True Dragon liquid, and applied it evenly over my body. Before long, my skin turned red, my bones itched intensely, and the blood chi in my body surged. In the blink of an eye, I absorbed the entire bottle of True Dragon liquid. My blood chi and strength doubled. Opening my eyes, a golden light flashed. My realm had loosened. Although I hadn't fully reached the true dragon realm, I was already a half-step true dragon. At the same time, my spiritual power also increased, especially in the Catacomb, where there was mithril and residual spiritual power from the dead alien tribe member. But when my spiritual power increased, I encountered a new problem. Due to absorbing the alien tribe's spiritual power, I fell into a nightmare, a characteristic ability of the alien tribe, invading a martial artist's spiritual power to create an illusion that amplifies fear. But 3 years of warfare had made my heart like stone. This nightmare wasn't enough to affect me. Above the catacomb, Lily desperately searched for me. She felt the range of her spiritual power expanding. From only being able to probe the 30th floor, now she could go deeper. Lily's heart was filled with mixed emotions. Glad because probing all the way down showed no sign of me. Worried because the deeper she went, the more she feared facing an unacceptable scene. But not finding me, she absolutely would not give up. About 3 to 5 minutes later, Lily finally smiled, her voice trembling with emotion. Found him, he's safe and sound, he really is fine. But immediately after, she realized my condition was abnormal. My eyes were tightly shut as if struggling against something. Lily observed carefully and finally determined I had fallen into an illusion. She knew how terrifying illusions were. If one couldn't escape, a person would be completely ruined. Without thinking much, she frantically used her spiritual power to touch my spiritual power, wanting to rush into the illusion and pull me out. In the illusion, at the gate of a base, a thunderous crashing sound echoed. The low roars of alien beasts reverberated constantly. An officer, while fighting alien beasts, shouted toward the back, "I will hold them off. Buy time for the people inside to retreat. The military department's reinforcements will arrive soon." Behind him was a vanguard squad of 10 people, engaged in fierce combat with the alien beasts. Among them, a young boy with delicate features gripped his long saber tightly frozen in place. Suddenly, an alien beast targeted the boy and lunged at him. The officer caught a glimpse and cursed loudly, "Dodge, damn it!" Seeing the boy still standing there dumbfoundedly, the officer ignored the danger in front of him, swung his saber, and rushed toward him. The sound of a blade piercing through flesh and blood rang out. Hot blood splattered all over the boy's face. The officer kicked him down and roared, "Dazed, this is the battlefield. There is no time for you to slowly adapt." Another squad member ran over, looking at the boy who was kicked down, and awkwardly explained, "Captain, this kid isn't even a martial artist yet. I don't know why he was sent here." The officer went mad. "What? Is the military department playing a joke on me? The minimum requirement for this recruitment was official martial artists. It's best if they even have real combat experience. Why send someone who isn't even a martial artist? Do they want to die?" The officer's shouting exploded in his ears. The boy gradually sobered up, stood up, and apologized. "Sorry, Captain, sorry. I guarantee I won't cause trouble for the squad." But the only response was the officer's icy glare. "I don't care if you are a martial artist or not. Once you enter here, you are a member of the demon-quelling army. Remember this well. The demon-quelling army protects others. It is not meant to be protected by others." The boy nodded vigorously, gripping his saber, his eyes determined. Lily stared blankly at this scene. The boy's figure was too familiar. It was me when I first enlisted. At that time, I still possessed a youthful, immature appearance, making her feel a sense of closeness. That was when I was still her eldest son. The cruel battlefield exceeded imagination. Every second was facing the Grim Reaper, let alone the fact that at that time, I wasn't even a martial artist. Lily couldn't imagine how such a person survived on the battlefield. At this moment, she understood why when I returned, I had changed so much. It was her. With her own hands, she pushed a son who wasn't a martial artist yet onto the battlefield, forcing me to court death. The sky was gloomy like a torn rag, a persistent drizzle falling. The streets were in ruins. Vehicles were overturned, puddles filled with corpses. The air was thick with the stench of blood and rot. An officer roared, "The city has fallen. Where is the vanguard squad? Are they all dead?" Besides the sound of rain, only the roars of alien beasts remained. No one answered. A demon-quelling army soldier returned from searching, his voice heavy. "Captain, it's likely the entire squad was wiped out. The vanguard squad, except for the captain who had some experience. The rest were all new recruits." The officer gritted his teeth. "Retreat! This city is finished." After the demon-quelling army retreated, the entire city became the territory of alien beasts. An unknown amount of time passed. From a mountain of corpses piled high, a filthy hand reached out. A boy crawled out from the pile of corpses. His clothes were torn, covered in blood and wounds. His face was pale white from blood loss. The boy smiled bitterly. "Not dead. It seems the heavens still have mercy on me." I dragged my weak body out of the corpse pile. But all around, alien beasts were lurking. Having not eaten for a long time, I wandered aimlessly through the ruined base. Occasionally I encountered alien beasts. If discovered, I would only end up as their prey. I tiredly rummaged through the garbage filled with corpses, muttering, "Starving to death. If this continues, I'm really done for." Finally, I found a glass vial with half a bottle of nutrient fluid left. Ignoring the dirt, I opened it and gulped it down. Lily witnessed this, her heart clenching, tears streaming down. This scene reminded her of when she found me in the slums. At that time, she swore to compensate me, to make up for the years of deprivation. But when I returned to the May family, what I faced were days even more miserable than the slums. During my 3 years in the army, she hadn't asked about me even once. Lily covered her mouth, stopping in her tracks, not daring to go further. This was my spiritual world, reflecting the things I least wanted to touch. She was afraid that if she went further when she met me, how much would I hate her? If the hatred was magnified, could I escape? At this moment, Lily felt as if all her strength was drained, sitting slumped on the ground. She finally understood how deeply the wounds she caused me were. She understood how important those military merits were to me. 3 years of blood and sweat. How could it be erased by a single sentence? Just as she was immersed in sorrow, a saber gleam tore through the screen like lightning in the night, blinding the eyes. The saber gleam slashed at the boy. Before he could react, he was sliced in half at the waist. The glass vial dropped and shattered. The boy, with his youthful face full of shock and helplessness, slowly fell down. "No!" Lily screamed, heart-wrenching, reaching out to grab him. But she only saw a cold figure stepping forward. "Michael!" She clearly saw that face, no longer immature but resolute and cold. She called out softly, but I didn't stop, brushing past her. She reached out her hand, wanting to hold on, but grasped nothing. She could only blankly watch me disappear. On the helicopter outside the Catacomb, Lily's face was pale white. In my spiritual world, she saw an unforgettable scene. As a mother, she owed me too much. Perhaps a lifetime would not be enough to repay. "Madam, madam!" The demon-quelling army soldiers saw her terrible state, as if she had suffered a massive blow, exchanged glances, and quickly brought her back, afraid something might happen to her. Before long, a figure leaped out of the Catacomb. I had also seen her in the spiritual world. But it didn't matter anymore. To me, she was already a stranger. From the moment I returned to the May family and met my parents, I had severed all ties. In the military encampment, Chloe Reed saw me return safely, and her worried look finally eased. She ran over to check that I wasn't injured before breathing a sigh of relief. Cameron Stone stood nearby, his eyelids twitching. Just now, Lily desperately searched for me. Now I returned, but she looked as if she had just recovered from a severe illness. He didn't understand what happened. Moreover, he was increasingly curious about my identity. Being called Chief by Major General Chloe Reed, who was I exactly? Escaping alone from a catacomb of this level, how strong was I? He didn't know clearly. He only knew I was Michael May, the future fiancé of his younger sister. Thinking of this, Cameron Stone smiled a bit smugly. The chief is his brother-in-law. Ha ha! I exchanged a few words with Chloe Reed, looked at Cameron Stone, who was smiling foolishly, and said, "The catacombs level hasn't changed. There are still many great Grandmaster alien beasts. You guys must always remain vigilant." Cameron Stone immediately withdrew his smile, answering seriously, "Yes, Chief." That night, after the catacombs stabilized, Cameron Stone, who had guarded it for half a month, rarely got to go home. In the hall of the Stone family, Cameron Stone excitedly recounted, "Father, you don't know. That guy from the May family, Michael May, the one engaged to my sister, is now a chief in the military department. Haven't seen him in 3 years. What a huge change." He took a sip of tea, still shocked. "Samantha, that is your fiancé." Samantha Stone, sitting on the sofa, heard this and frowned, her voice strange. "Brother, are you going crazy? How could he be a chief in the military department?" Not only her father George Stone, also frowned. "Are you mistaken? The May family just kicked Michael May out of the house a few days ago. How could he be a chief in the military department?" On the day of Bradley May's celebration banquet, George Stone personally heard Simon May admit it. If he was a chief in the military department, would Simon May bear to kick him out? Cameron Stone was about to speak, but upon hearing this, he was stunned. What? Michael May was kicked out of the May family? It's true. Simon May said it in front of everyone. George Stone, seeing his son's shock, realized something was wrong. What exactly is going on? Explain clearly. Cameron Stone was dazed, then said, "The chief in the military department is truly Michael May. The Major General from the capital also called him chief. Furthermore, Madam May personally came looking for Michael May. How could it be fake?" George Stone immediately stood up. He completely trusted his son. If Cameron Stone said so, it definitely wasn't fake. "You Dom, even the Major General from the capital, Michael May chief," he confirmed again. If true, Michael May's identity was at least a general. Such a young general, the entire military department wouldn't have a second one. But if so, why did Simon May kick him out? "It's true, I saw it with my own eyes. Why would I lie to you, father?" Cameron Stone pondered, dropping a bomb. "I suspect Michael May is already a general's heart." General's heart? George Stone was startled. Isn't that the same rank as Simon May? A general's heart at this age? Wouldn't he take over the military department in the future? And become a marshal? He frowned. Why would Simon May kick Michael May out and turn to support Bradley May? Cameron Stone shook his head, also confused. "I just heard you say it. What is General May doing?" Michael May becoming a chief was like adding wings to a tiger for the May family. Others would only praise the May family's good fortune. Simon May would also be immensely proud. Why kick him out? This question puzzled not only George Stone and Cameron Stone, but everyone couldn't understand it. They couldn't imagine how ruthless Simon May was. George Stone pondered, unable to figure it out, and said, regardless of what Simon May is thinking, we must stand in the right position. If, as you said, Michael May is a chief in the military department, this is a great joyous event for the Stone family. Cameron Stone nodded, smiling with narrowed eyes. Exactly. Years ago, I was worried about my sister's future. Now there's no need to worry. Maybe our Stone family even climbed high. The father and son laughed heartily, in an excellent mood. A general's heart as a son-in-law so young with a bright future. The Stone family would likely soar because of this. Oh right, Samantha, have you met Michael recently? George Stone patted his thigh, turning to Samantha Stone sitting beside him, his face full of surprise. Come to think of it, we haven't seen him in years. As an uncle, I should visit him. Tomorrow, will you go with me? Hearing this, Samantha Stone was silent for a moment, then said, Father, I canceled the engagement a few days ago. As soon as her words fell, the entire hall of the Stone family went dead silent. George Stone and Cameron Stone were stunned, looking at her in disbelief. You canceled the engagement? George Stone shouted. When did you cancel it? Who gave you the guts to go to the May family to cancel it? Not mentioning my current identity. The May family was still a top martial arts family in Northbrook. Simon May was the commander-in-chief of the demon-quelling army. Canceling an engagement with the May family was like slapping their face. I saw he was kicked out of the house by Uncle May, having nothing to do with the May family anymore. Moreover, I spoke with Uncle May beforehand. Samantha Stone replied foolishly. She hadn't expected that the me from 3 years ago would now be a chief in the military department. Foolish! Foolish! George Stone was furious. Even if Simon May kicked Michael May out, he is still his biological son. Sooner or later he will return. When that time comes, what will our Stone family do? Let alone now he is a chief in the military department. Do you know what a general's heart at this age means? The entire military department would have a hard time finding a second one. In the future, if he takes over the military department and becomes Marshal Stone, paced back and forth, his face livid, his voice full of reprimand. Severing ties with Simon May, with my current identity and performance, the future is highly likely to become a marshal. Even if we don't think that far ahead, I am already a general's heart. Canceling an engagement with a general's heart, if word gets out, who would dare collaborate with the Stone family? Who would dare approach us? That's still a minor issue. If I held a grudge against the Stone family because of this, how would we survive later? Samantha Stone's cancellation of the engagement inadvertently buried the Stone family's future. It's just canceling an engagement, is it that serious? Samantha Stone glared, stubbornly lifting her head. What do you know? George Stone shouted. Your brother is currently working in the military department. He's our family's martial arts genius. With hope of being promoted to general's heart before 40. Because of your stupid action, the Stone family's future, your brother's future, have all been destroyed by you. He raised his hand intending to slap her, but ultimately couldn't bring himself to do it. He sighed, his heart filled with complex emotions. He once thought the Stone family would enter a new era, but now it seemed impossible. Now you go apologize immediately, he shouted. I don't demand you restore the engagement, but at least don't let Michael May hold a grudge. Otherwise, don't blame me for disowning you as a daughter. George Stone clearly understood the impact of my identity. He felt his chest tightening, almost spitting blood. Samantha Stone stared blankly at her father. This was the first time he had been this angry, even threatening to disown her. She numbly walked out of the Stone family estate, still feeling like in a dream. Is Michael May really a chief in the military department? Her brother's words couldn't be fake. Samantha Stone smiled bitterly, her eyes gloomy. At the May family, Lily returned from the Catacomb. After seeing me in the spiritual world, her heart was filled with guilt, her whole body haggard. By the time Simon May returned from the military department, she was still unaware. Simon May slumped onto the sofa, glanced at the silent Lily and frowned. What's wrong with you? I told you to come back early, but you didn't listen. Did you get hurt? Lily said coldly. When you brought Michael back, did you really just see him as a pawn to pave the way for Bradley? Simon May frowned, his voice calm. Why ask this suddenly? Both are my sons. I already explained the matter of the military merits to you. I just didn't expect that rebellious son, after a few years in the army, would have stiff wings and dare to rebel. But this explanation didn't convince Lily. She looked at her husband, feeling he was a stranger, and she herself felt like a stranger to her own self. Why did she agree to such an absurd thing like taking my military merits to give to Bradley May? But now realizing it was too late. After seeing the scenes in my spiritual world, they were etched into her mind, impossible to forget. Her silence made Simon May realize something was wrong. He frowned. Are you blaming me for not going to the Catacomb? He snorted coldly. You are too emotional. Has that rebellious son ever considered us family? I only took 3 years of his military merits for Bradley, yet he dared to sever ties and even laid a hand on his younger brother. Simon May sneered inwardly. Just because he served a few years in the army, gained some military merits, and a little status in the military department, he dares to disrespect me? Who is he? The commander-in-chief of the Northbrook Demon-Quelling Army, a 1-star general. His military merits are piled high. The day will come when he begs to return. Without the May family, his martial arts path won't go far. Lily sat on the sofa, her eyes complex as she listened to Simon May. She wanted to question him. In the past 3 years, did you ever care about Michael May? Do you know how he lived? But thinking again, she herself didn't care either, didn't fulfill her responsibility as a mother. What right did she have to blame others? In the hall of the Turner family, Chloe Reed and I returned. For me, the trip to the Catacomb yielded a substantial harvest. Not only did I get the true dragon liquid, but also a true dragon-level martial art. Currently, I was already a half-step true dragon. If I had enough true dragon liquid, stepping into the true dragon realm was only a matter of time. For the upcoming general's heart evaluation, I was even more confident. In her room, Chloe Reed was amazed. So your marriage prospect is with the son of General May? Before coming, she thought that if the marriage prospect wasn't to her liking, she would be the first to object. Diana Turner was her student, a genius of holy martial. How could she let her jump into a fire pit? But hearing Diana Turner's words, she couldn't sit still. The marriage prospect turned out to be me, Michael May, a general of the military department, the hero of the Eastern Zone, the future of martial arts. She couldn't understand how Arthur Turner convinced me to agree. Diana Turner nodded doubtfully and asked, "Yes, Grandpa said so." "Teacher, do you not agree?" Chloe Reed excitedly shook her head. No, if it's exactly as you say," I raised both hands in approval, but she still found it hard to believe. A genius of holy martial general of the military department like this, clearly Diana Turner was the one benefiting. Diana Turner nodded thoughtfully. When I returned, I was immediately called away by Arthur Turner. Clearly it was about Diana Turner. Arthur Turner was over 90 years old. Although he was a martial arts grandmaster with a lifespan of 180 years, the fate of his 2 children made him worry about Diana Turner. For her long-term future, he highly valued me. My martial arts strength and identity were the best backing. Even if one day he was no longer around, Diana Turner wouldn't be alone. Over the past few days of interaction, he saw I was excellent in all aspects, but he didn't force it. He would definitely ask for Diana Turner's opinion. If she disagreed, he wouldn't push it. Before I went to the Catacomb, he had asked Diana Turner and she agreed. Now, only my opinion was needed. I was reluctant. I originally thought being alone was comfortable, the martial arts path without many entanglements. But considering Arthur Turner's favor, I couldn't refuse. After talking with Arthur Turner, I arrived at the door of Diana Turner's room. Hearing the noise inside, I pushed the door and walked in. Chloe Reed smiled. "General May looking for Diana?" I nodded, feeling her smile carried many hidden meanings. Chloe Reed said, "Diana, go ahead. Someone is looking for you." Diana Turner blushed slightly and followed. I occasionally looked up at the man taller than her by half a head. She didn't know much about my identity, only hearing from Chloe Reed and her grandfather that I was a general's heart of the military department. But I looked too young, probably around her age. Reaching the living room, I stopped and said, "Arthur Turner must have spoken with you. But I want to be clear." Diana Turner stopped beside me, her expression calm. I pondered, then slowly said, "This arrangement was made by Arthur Turner. If you find it awkward, just speak frankly. I believe he wouldn't force you." Diana Turner listened quietly, then nodded in agreement. Seeing this, I smiled. "You are still studying at Holy Martial, while I fight alien beasts on the battlefield every day." "So," Diana Turner interrupted, "but I think I can give it a try." I was stunned. This answer was unexpected. Actually, when Arthur Turner proposed it, I didn't think she would agree. A beautiful young girl like a flower, paired with someone who slaughtered on the battlefield every day. Like me, it didn't seem like a good match. Recovering my senses, I looked at her with doubt. "What did you say?" Diana Turner raised her head to face me. Her fair face bloomed with a smile. I said, "I think I can give it a try." This time, it was my turn to be dumbfounded. Is the script wrong? Shouldn't she be resisting to death like Samantha Stone? I stayed silent for a moment, then continued, "Think carefully. After I finish my business in Northbrook, I will return to the military department immediately. I don't know when we'll meet again." Diana Turner didn't mind, smiling. "I will also join the military department later. Sooner or later we will meet." I fell silent again, but I wasn't someone who loses the ability to speak when seeing a pretty girl. Reacting, I thought, since she had already said that, refusing further would be lacking in romance. I nodded, saying softly, "Okay, not far away." Samantha Stone watched this scene with a complex expression. George Stone told her to come apologize to me. But arriving here, she couldn't take a step forward. She didn't know how to speak. Seeing me and Diana Turner talking and laughing, she smiled bitterly. In Northbrook, she was a famous beauty. Her suitors lined up from here to the capital. But in front of Diana Turner, she was overshadowed. Diana Turner was a martial arts genius of Northbrook. Since middle school, she had been a goddess in the hearts of many. Her martial arts talent made many secretly admire her, but not dare to confess. Standing before the two of us, Samantha Stone didn't dare to approach, whether it was out of pride that kept her from begging for my forgiveness or some other reason. Finally, she watched quietly for a while, then left. Only now did she understand how ridiculous her previous thoughts were. She once thought Arthur Turner was crazy to marry the martial arts genius of Northbrook to someone kicked out of the house. But now she knew Arthur Turner wasn't crazy. It turned out I was a chief in the military department. Samantha Stone, with a complex expression, returned to the Stone family. George Stone saw her looking lost and jumped up from the sofa, anxiously. How did it go? Did Michael not forgive you? Not only him, Cameron Stone also watched his sister tensely. He wasn't worried about his own future, but the Stone families. Samantha Stone shook her head. It's not that. I just didn't know how to speak. George Stone was furious. Why? Because of your cheap pride. Samantha Stone, being scolded, pursed her lips and said nothing. George Stone completely exploded. George Stone strode right up to Samantha Stone and shouted loudly, "Your pride was given by the Stone family. But now because of you, the Stone family's future is dark. Do you want me, with my old face, to personally go beg?" Cameron Stone, seeing his father trembling with anger and looking at his lost sister, sighed. "Father, let her calm down first, then we'll talk." His heart was filled with complex emotions. A matter that should have been happy. How did it turn out like this? But the problem had occurred. They had to find a way to solve it. Samantha Stone stood in the courtyard feeling a bit numb. Was it because of pride? Not entirely. When she saw me standing with Diana Turner, she felt that if she stepped forward, she would look like a clown. More than pride, it was an inferiority complex. It had been nearly a month since I returned to Northbrook. The Catacomb was a major event, but it was temporarily stable, so few paid attention. Today, Northbrook was lively again. Every family with a 12th grade student was busy, because today was the martial arts exam, the greatest life-changing opportunity in the martial arts era. If accepted by a key university, the future would be bright. Not only would the student themselves be rewarded by the province, but the parents would also share the glory. Calling it bringing honor to the ancestors wasn't an exaggeration. In the Turner family estate, I put down my phone, my expression calm. This morning I received a message from General Harrison requesting me to select a few outstanding martial arts seedlings in Northbrook after the martial arts exam to bring into the training camp to join the Eastern War Zone later. Northbrook had over 1,000 martial arts middle schools. The number of students was massive, but it wasn't hard for me. I just needed to go to the Provincial Governor's mansion to get the list of martial arts geniuses. But the exam wasn't over yet. I wasn't in a hurry, just needed to wait a few days. In the General Military Headquarters meeting room in the capital, dozens of figures sat neatly. The old man sitting at the head spoke up, his gaze sweeping over everyone. "Calling you all here today is for a simple matter. The border warfare is tense. The General's Heart competition must be held a few months early. The war zones have been notified. It will officially take place in half a month. What do you all think?" Everyone nodded, no one spoke. The old man continued, "If there are no issues, please prepare. Announce the news so the war zones are ready." Everyone agreed. This was a major event. The top martial artists from the war zones would come to the capital, including disciples from the martial saint families. The military department had to prepare thoroughly. The old man nodded, then suddenly asked, "Where is Bradley May?" One person smiled. "Marshal, you still care about him. The last time we met was at the front line. He's only 22 years old." The old man chuckled lightly, full of expectation. "Heard news from the Eastern Zone. He returned to Northbrook recently. Probably hasn't returned to the Eastern Zone yet." Another General's Heart smiled. "The next General's Heart competition won't be simple. Many martial saint disciples want to compete." The old man waved his hand, silencing the room. "All right, let's not talk about this. The martial saints' affairs, let them handle it themselves. Everyone, quickly notify those on leave or on missions to return to the capital." The May family was bustling early in the morning. Bradley May was taking the martial arts exam today, and the whole family was busy preparing. Simon May cast aside his previous gloomy mood, his face full of smiles. In his eyes, Bradley May was certain to get into Holy Martial. Even with the martial arts scores of Northbrook students, if he performed normally, he could become the provincial top scorer. As a father, he was proud. Early in the morning, Simon May personally escorted Bradley May to the exam center. But just as he entered the military department, a person rushed over. "General May, there is news from the military department requesting Bradley May to return immediately. There is an urgent mission." Simon May frowned. "From the Eastern Zone?" The person shook his head. "Heard the Eastern Zone people say it's an order from the capital." Simon May frowned, puzzled. "The capital? Why suddenly issue this order? Did they state a reason?" The person shook his head again. "They didn't give specifics." Simon May signaled for the person to leave. Sitting in the military department, his expression changed. Why was the Eastern Zone suddenly calling Bradley May? Could it be the warfare had escalated, recalling all demon-quelling army members? He wanted to swap mine and Bradley May's identities again, so I could return in his place. But Bradley May was taking the martial arts exam and couldn't leave. This was an order from the capital. Even if he personally intervened, it would be hard to bring Bradley May back immediately. Furthermore, if he helped his son move from the front line to the rear, how would the military department and outsiders view him? Simon May didn't connect this recall order with the General's Heart competition, because to him that was impossible. He sat there, his expression changing, finally standing up. Bradley May couldn't be moved. The martial arts exam was tied to his future and the inheritance of Northbrook, but the order from the capital couldn't be ignored. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, coming up with a good idea. In the Turner family estate, I lay comfortably on the sofa. After 3 years of fighting, I rarely got to enjoy such peace. Regarding the provincial governor, I had already called and could get the list. Richard Lee was very willing. If he got people into the military training camp, he would also benefit, so he wouldn't refuse. Moreover, my identity made it impossible for him to refuse. Suddenly, from the courtyard, Arthur Turner's voice rang out. "General May, what wind blew you here?" I opened my eyes. Simon May had come again, but probably not looking for me. After I fought and severed ties, I made it clear. If Simon May still had any face, he wouldn't come. But before I could think further, Simon May's voice rang out. "Where is Michael May? I have something to say." I opened my eyes, expression strange. He actually came looking for me. Arthur Turner chuckled lightly, carrying a hint of sarcasm. "Simon May, you didn't say that the other day. Now he's your son again?" Hearing the laugh, Simon May felt it grating on his ears and snorted coldly. "I'm looking for my son. Do I need an outsider like you to agree?" Arthur Turner found it hard to believe. The other day you said otherwise. But he knew Simon May never bowed his head to admit mistakes, so he found it even stranger. Simon May's face was ugly, his eyes flashing with killing intent. "I don't have time to bicker. Is he here or not?" He felt Arthur Turner was increasingly disrespecting him. Arthur Turner dropped his smile, answering plainly, "Sorry, he is not." Simon May's face darkened, his voice icy. "Old man, you are pushing me too far. Believe it or not, I will flip the Turner family upside down." No, this wasn't a joke. With peak great-grandmaster strength, flipping a building was as easy as turning his hand. As he released his aura, 6 streams of light rose from his body, accompanied by fierce winds. I pushed the door open, calmly looking at him. "Is this your attitude when looking for someone?" I didn't want to meet Simon May, but given the situation, if I didn't come out, he would really attack. Seeing me, Simon May withdrew his aura, his face rarely softening. The people following him also withdrew their auras, which surprised me. Simon May didn't care, strode into the room and slumped down. I leaned against the door, looking coldly. "Speak quickly if you have something to say." I didn't believe Simon May suddenly changed his attitude. After what happened, I had clearly seen his true colors. Hearing this, Simon May's just softened face frowned again. He wanted to get angry but suppressed it, sighing. "Michael, I know I wronged you over the years. It's normal for you to be dissatisfied, but you are my son. I cannot abandon you." The sudden softening of his attitude and unfamiliar way of speaking made me vigilant. "Who are you? Have you been possessed?" Simon May, being asked this by me, froze, inwardly wanting to slap me. This rebellious son is going too far. He suppressed it, staying silent for a long while, then said, "You know your brother has high martial arts talent, destined to become a martial saint in the future. I did it for the May family, for Northbrook. As the eldest son, why can't you understand me?" Hearing this, I sneered, almost cursing out, "What are you that I have to understand? Who the hell do you think you are?" Simon May's face darkened. The phrase "who the hell" made the veins on his forehead pop. He took a deep breath, suppressing his surging blood chi, and said, "But you won't even give us a chance to make amends, will you?" I waved my hand, sounding bored. "I don't care." Simon May lowered his voice. "Don't be so quick to refuse. We can give you the title of eldest young master of the May family, martial arts resources, even the chairman's seat of the corporation, as long as you agree to one thing." I suddenly realized. So that was it. Simon May suddenly changed because of those things. "I have no interest. Agreeing to your terms? Impossible. If you have nothing else, leave." I was calm, too lazy to even hear what it was. Simon May hurriedly said, "This morning the military department sent a notice calling you back. This is a direct order from the capital." I smiled sarcastically. "Calling me back, is it Bradley May or Michael May?" Simon May's expression softened, but his tone was arrogant. "Of course it's Bradley May. Otherwise, why would I come looking for you? Your brother is taking the martial arts exam and cannot go. You use Bradley's name to go back first. Later, I will bring him back to Northbrook. You will still be the eldest young master, and your mother's corporation will be handed over to you. To him, the title of eldest young master of the May family, who in Northbrook could compare? Not to mention the largest corporation." He didn't believe I could refuse. I inwardly sighed. Still underestimated Simon May's shamelessness. Taking his younger brother's place to enlist was one thing, but coming back he wanted to steal my merits and swap identities. Now that the military department called Bradley May, he wanted me to go in his place. Is this guy even human? The conditions he offered, I didn't even bat an eye at. Simon May had a track record. Only a fool would believe him. I didn't even think before refusing immediately. "They called Bradley May. What does it have to do with me?" "You wanting Bradley May to return and work is exactly what you wanted, isn't it? My 3 years of military merits are already his, aren't they?" Simon May's face turned frighteningly gloomy. I said, "Bradley is taking the martial arts exam. How can he go to the capital? As an older brother helping a younger brother, isn't it common sense? When he becomes a martial saint in the future, will he forget you?" I nodded. Just as Simon May thought I agreed, I plainly said, "Are you done talking? If you're done, leave." Simon May's blood pressure skyrocketed because of me. If not for his status, he would have rolled up his sleeves and fought. These past few days, Northbrook welcomed many big figures. If he lost face, he would be disgraced thoroughly. In the end, Simon May's efforts were like building castles in the sand. His face livid, he dejectedly left the Turner family. Arriving back at the military department, his face was still as black as the bottom of a pot. The military department was waiting for news. but my resolute refusal to yield put him in a dilemma. But one thing was certain. Bradley May absolutely could not return to the military department. General May, the military department is urging again. A guard hurried in to report looking very anxious. Simon May rubbed his temples, impatiently waving his hand. I know, leave it be. We'll decide in 3 days. The guard froze, scratching his head awkwardly. The Eastern Zone is easy to deal with, but this is a direct order from the capital. If they pursue the matter, what then? Simon May coldly said. Bradley May is taking the martial arts exam. He has no time. You think a mere Michael May can do anything? He didn't believe the military department would make a big deal out of me. In the main hall of the Eastern Military Department, General Harrison's eyes widened, his voice full of disbelief. Simon May really said that? Absolutely true. A person nodded. I was shocked too. The order went from the capital straight to Northbrook, yet Simon May dared to ignore it, even suppressed it. General Harrison shook his head, so brave. I admit I wouldn't have the guts. Taking the martial arts exam? It seems he is determined to let Bradley May take Michael May's military merits. He sighed. Simon May, do you know how big of a disaster you've caused? A division commander suggested. General, should we notify General May directly? After all, he is representing the Eastern Zone in the General's Heart competition. General Harrison pondered, then said, okay, if Simon May dares to ignore the capital's order, I will notify him myself. He smiled wickedly. Ignoring the capital's order, it seems Simon May's jaw is going to drop. That afternoon, the provincial governor's mansion in Northbrook was bustling with vehicles. People came and went. The martial arts exam was a fierce competition for students, and equally so for key martial arts academies. Every year, they had to scout early to lock onto the Tadrids, the martial arts genius students. But the provincial governor's mansion suddenly went dead silent. In the guest room, everyone stared at me in shock. Right here, please come in. I have prepared it specifically for you. Richard Lee smiled brightly, his posture so low he was almost bowing. This scene made the admissions teacher's jaws drop. Who was Richard Lee? Aside from Simon May leading the demon-quelling army, he was the king of Northbrook. Even Simon May didn't make him bow so low. Who exactly was this young man? I smiled faintly, waving my hand. Don't be so polite, give me the list. Yes, yes. Richard Lee beamed his eyes nervously watching the list in my hand. I silently prayed I would pick many people. This person, and these few. I glanced at the list, pointing out a few students with outstanding talent. After the exam, I will talk to them personally. Richard Lee's eyes followed my hand, etching the names into his memory, nodding profusely. No problem, I will arrange it immediately. I glanced at the waiting crowd, smiling. You all look busy. I won't disturb you. Richard Lee hurriedly stood up, personally escorting me to the door. When I left, the guest room exploded with discussions. Governor Lee, who was that young man? Yeah, never heard of him. So young, could he be a young master from a Marshall Saint family? Everyone was making wild guesses. The scene just now was too shocking. Richard Lee took a deep breath, didn't feel embarrassed, but seriously said, not a young master, nor does he have a backer. He is the genius chief of the Eastern Zone from 3 years ago. The entire room fell dead silent. The genius of the Eastern Zone from 3 years ago shocked the whole country, then disappeared. Everyone thought he was dead. No one expected I was still alive, standing right here. Governor Lee, what is his current rank? Where is his home? One person asked. Everyone showed shocked expressions. Richard Lee didn't hide it. He is the son of Simon May, the general of Northbrook. No wonder, a tiger father begets a tiger son. Heard the May family has another son taking the martial arts exam. Who could get into Holy Martial? The admissions teachers looked at each other, their eyes full of meaning. A tiger son plus a martial arts genius. If recruited, the capital would have another prominent figure in the future. Richard Lee saw their expressions, knew what they were plotting, and said, I'll tell you this first. A few days ago, Simon May personally admitted he kicked Michael May out of the house. Hearing this, the excited teachers were dumbfounded. Kicked out of the house? What the hell? Does that make sense? Kicking out a general over 20 years old, does Simon May have a problem in his head? At that age, even Simon May was just starting to rise. One person couldn't help asking, Governor Lee, if you know the inside story, tell us. We aren't gossips, we will absolutely keep it secret. Richard Lee sighed. It's not an inside story, it's just a matter of the May family, I can't say much. I only know Michael May is currently very tense with Simon May, which is closely related to Bradley May. If you want to know clearly, go to the military department and ask, then you'll understand. The news from the provincial governor's mansion spread. Those who came to Northbrook frantically asked why Simon May kicked Michael May out. The person in the military department was Bradley May, so who was taking the martial arts exam. Those who didn't know the inside story were busy after hearing this name. But they knew clearly, the person who appeared at the provincial governor's mansion was the military genius from years ago named Michael May. The martial arts exam lasted for 2 days. Afterward, everyone anxiously waited for the results to be announced. But before that, for martial arts students, there was another major event. The list of candidates chosen by the Martial Arts Alliance or Martial Arts Dojos at Spirit Vale No. 1 Martial Arts High School. Besides 10th and 11th graders, only outstanding 12th graders came. Today, the list of geniuses chosen by the Martial Arts Alliance or Dojos was announced. Bradley May was on the list. But as the son of Simon May, he didn't care about dojos. His only goal was the military training camp, a gathering place for martial arts geniuses nationwide, the best training opportunity. In the office, a teacher wearing glasses announced the list chosen by the dojos. Then he picked up a piece of paper. Next is the list for the military training camp. Every name was read out. Bradley May's expression turned from confident to disbelief. At the end, his name wasn't there. He froze, asking, "Teacher, why isn't my name there?" The teacher was also puzzled. With Bradley May's scores, he should have been admitted to the training camp. Why wasn't he on the list sent by the provincial governor's mansion? "I don't know the reason either," the teacher said. "Students whose names were called, go to the provincial governor's mansion. The military department will evaluate you first." As everyone left, Bradley May silently walked out of the school, fists clenched, full of resentment. The mocking gazes of his classmates when they found out he wasn't chosen were unbearable to him. Praised since childhood, his pride was sky high. How could he accept this disparity? Why did others get into the training camp while he couldn't? In a spacious training room at the provincial governor's mansion, I stood on the podium, glancing around, and plainly said, "Your martial arts talent is not bad. If there are no surprises in the martial arts exam, you all can enter the training camp." "Chief, I heard the rewards for the training camp are very generous. What are they this time?" a skinny male student asked. I smiled meaningfully. 1 million in cash, a grandmaster skill, and a realm-breaking pill. Oh my god, a grandmaster skill is worth billions on the martial arts network. They even have this. A level 7 realm-breaking pill increases breakthrough chances, worth over 10 million, so generous. The students below were shocked, their eyes burning. I smiled. The rewards are generous. But first, I will announce the rules of the camp. Everything is bought with points. There are no rules. You might be beaten to death, or beat someone else to death. The camp doesn't care. If you go out and someone looks for trouble, the camp won't interfere. Hearing this, the fiery students felt like a bucket of cold water was poured on them. Joining a camp could cost their lives. This price was too high. I've made it clear. Anyone who wants to withdraw can leave now, I said. I wasn't scaring them. I was telling the truth. The training camp trained martial artists to go to the battlefield, not greenhouse flowers. Cruelty was a certainty. Someone shouted, "I withdraw. I'll join a dojo then. The rewards are less, but at least I'm safe." One person stepped out. Anyone else? I won't repeat this. Withdrawing now is still in time. If you are selected and then quit, you will be treated as deserters, I continued. 2 or 3 more stood up and left. Finally, out of 10 people, only 2 remained. 1 male, 1 female. I looked at them. Seems better than I thought. You 2 go home and wait for news. Once confirmed, someone will lead you there. Yes, Commander, the 2 replied and left. Just then an angry voice rang out from the door. I turned around and saw Bradley May plainly saying, "Recovered well. I thought you wouldn't be able to take the martial arts exam." Hearing this, Bradley May remembered the time he was slapped away by me, his face turning green. "Michael May, I know why I wasn't chosen. You are abusing public office for private revenge. Aren't you afraid of a military investigation?" He intentionally spoke loudly to attract the attention of the students, wanting them to know there was a reason he wasn't chosen. Sure enough, the students who hadn't left stopped and looked over. I said plainly, "Don't flatter yourself. Your talent in my eyes is not worth a penny. In the training camp, you'd only be average." I stepped forward, patting his shoulder without holding back. Bradley May dodged, his eyes cold and angry. "My talent is average? I ask you, why were they chosen?" He pointed at the students. "If you don't give me a reasonable explanation, I will report to the military department." I glanced at him, saying plainly, "No reason. Simply because you are an eyesore." Bradley May froze. "Michael May, you dare." He didn't expect that even after bringing up the military department, I would still be so arrogant. My attitude of, "What can you do to me?" made him so angry he almost spat blood. Seeing Bradley May trembling with anger, the students felt secretly refreshed. Just now he almost pointed at their faces, calling their talent poor. Bradley May took a deep breath, calming down. "It's just a training camp. What's the big deal without the camp? I am still a major of the demon-quelling army." But he swore this matter wasn't over. Returning home, Bradley May immediately told Simon May. He was the commander-in-chief of the Northbrook demon-quelling army, having the power to deal with abusing public office. He actually said that. Hearing this, Simon May's cold face didn't change, but in his heart, he had already passed a death sentence on me. Bradley May's face sank, fists clenched. "Yes, father, don't worry about this. Let me handle it. When the martial arts results are out, transfer my military registration back to Northbrook. Michael May will be left with nothing." Simon May coldly spoke, his eyes gloomy. "While waiting for the martial arts results, I will not use military law to punish Michael May. Not because I am merciful, but because his current identity is still Bradley May. If I punish him, it's equivalent to punishing Bradley May, destroying your future." For the past few days, he had been running around preparing to transfer Bradley May's military registration back to Northbrook. With a general like him, this wasn't difficult, but the paperwork from the Eastern Zone kept getting delayed, leaving him helpless. He could only continue to wait. Simon May sat on the sofa holding a fresh newspaper, looking doubtful. "I feel something is not right." Lily heard this but didn't respond. Simon May frowned. Logically, people from Holy Marshal should have arrived these past few days. Why haven't I seen them? Lily plainly replied, unclear. But with Bradley's martial arts talent, getting into Holy Marshal shouldn't be a problem. Simon May nodded, not worried. He knew Bradley May's scores well. Getting into Holy Marshal was a certainty. The Academy's people would come sooner or later. At 10 a.m., the martial arts exam results were announced. Simon May stared at the screen. The text appeared, Northbrook Martial Arts Exam Result, 3rd place. His eyes darkened, his mood plunging to the bottom, 3rd place. Bradley May, the person he had high hopes for, didn't win the title of top scorer in the martial arts exam. Bradley May noticed his father's face change, glanced at the screen, and his expression also changed. He lowered his head. Father, I disappointed you. I didn't perform well during the exam. The injuries from a few days ago affected me. Actually, with the May Corporation's medicine, his injuries had healed, but his self-esteem and his promise to Simon May made him find excuses. Not winning first place in Northbrook, he couldn't accept it. Simon May's eyes flashed, but he didn't blame him. It's okay. The martial arts era is full of dark horses. At the last minute, anyone can break through. This is normal. Don't blame yourself. At least Holy Marshal is guaranteed. He comforted him, but in his heart he hated me to the bone. Knowing Bradley May was about to take the martial arts exam, I still struck so heavily, causing him to lose the title of top scorer. Michael May, you are truly vicious. Thinking back over the past few days, Simon May felt his patience had reached its limit. He narrowed his eyes, his expression unpredictable, not knowing what he was thinking. Before long, the admission list for the 10 great Holy Martial Academies was announced, shocking the whole city. Simon May was even more furious. The name Bradley May was not on the list. Bradley May was also stunned. How could this be, father? My scores are clearly enough to get into Holy Martial, even if I'm not top scorer. With those scores, getting into Holy Martial is a certainty. Perhaps a name was missed. Simon May took a deep breath, comforting him. Don't worry, I will go ask right now. He strode out. At the Provincial Governor's mansion, a teacher asked, are we going to admit Bradley May or not? A Holy Martial teacher replied, observe for now. The May family's matters are complicated. If not handled well, it might anger that person. Everyone nodded in agreement. After learning about the May family's situation, they hesitated to admit Bradley May. If admitting him made the military figure unhappy, how would they explain? But not admitting him was against the rules, because Bradley May's scores far exceeded the admission threshold. The teachers had a headache. For the first time, they weren't fighting over a student, but stood united on the side of observing. Just then, a sharp breaking sound echoed outside the mansion. A burly man with a cold face, wearing a military uniform and a domineering aura, strode in. Everyone looked at each other, their faces full of bitterness. Simon May stepped over the threshold, his cold gaze sweeping over everyone. Do you think the May family is easy to bully? Everyone felt their necks turn cold, an aura like ice blades hovering around them. This general was angry. He shouted, my son has enough points, why isn't he on the list? A Holy Martial teacher smiled bitterly. General May, please calm down. This matter is complicated. Simon May was cold, his killing intent intensifying. How complicated? Tell me. The teacher sighed, lowering his voice. It's not that we don't want to admit him, but Bradley May's identity is too complicated. On his martial arts exam scorecard, there's a category for bonus points from military merits, from 3 years of enlistment in the Eastern Zone. But we know of someone named Michael May, who is said to be the one who enlisted in the Eastern Zone. So are these military merit points valid? Hearing this, Simon May's anger was uncontrollable, his voice freezing. What the hell is Michael May? Just an ungrateful wolf I brought back. Now he has been kicked out of my house. How could he enlist in the Eastern Zone? The person in the Eastern Zone is Bradley May, my biological son. Could I mistake him? You old fools didn't investigate clearly. Hearing it was me again. His anger flared, yelling at everyone. The teacher hurriedly said, Yes, we believe General May's words, but we cannot decide this matter. We must wait for Holy Marshal to verify before we have the official admission result. You know, the martial arts exam is a major event. If there is fraud, we cannot bear the responsibility. Simon May was angry. They didn't dare provoke him further. He sneered. Good, very good. You want to investigate? Then investigate clearly, see if it's Bradley May or not. If you don't give the May family an explanation, don't blame me for not showing face. He knew Holy Marshal was already suspicious. Whatever he did today wouldn't change anything, but he wasn't worried, because in the military department, the name was definitely Bradley May and wouldn't change. But he had to prepare something beforehand. Simon May left the Provincial Governor's mansion, his face green. Although angry, this was the Provincial Governor's mansion, he couldn't attack. This matter wasn't over. Over the past few days, Simon May realized I had never considered them family. Time and time again, I hurt Vivian May. Bradley May affected the martial arts exam, caused Bradley May to lose the top scorer title, and even almost failed to enter Holy Marshal. Sitting in the car, Simon May's expression was unpredictable, eyes flashing with killing intent. I didn't think much. Everything in Northbrook was done, there was no reason to stay. The Eastern Zone sent news that the General's Heart competition was about to start. In the Turner family estate, I smiled and said to Arthur Turner, "Old master, I've troubled you a lot these past few days. My business in Northbrook is done. I have to go." Arthur Turner nodded, smiling. Good, good. Heard there's a General's Heart competition in the capital soon. With your identity and age, you surely have a spot. I nodded. Yes, the military department ordered me to the capital to participate. Arthur Turner said, "That's good, you can go with Diana. She is also returning to Holy Marshal." I didn't refuse. To me, having one more person or not didn't matter. Since it was dark, we planned to depart tomorrow night. 100 miles from Spiritvale, the Catacomb was heavily guarded by the demon-quelling army, surrounding the central mountain range. The demon-quelling army went in and out clearing alien beasts. The Catacomb was still dangerous. Being close to residential areas, it had to be cleared. On the 7th and 8th floors, a demon-quelling squad was clearing alien beasts. Suddenly, one person shouted, "Captain, there's movement down there." The captain signaled to be quiet. "Our mission is to clear this floor. The alien beasts below are for stronger squads to handle." A demon-quelling soldier stood at the catacomb entrance, looking down, his voice trembling. "But I see, there don't seem to be any living people down there. It feels like countless eyes are looking at me." The captain glanced at him, intending to check when a roar of an alien beast echoed from below. The cave mouth shook, as if something was about to burst out. The captain's face changed, shouting, "Retreat! There is a strong blood chi approaching from below." As soon as he spoke, an alien beast lunged out and swallowed them. In the sky, several helicopters circled. The demon-quelling soldiers' faces were heavy hearing the screams. One person called out, "Contact the squads. See what's happening down there." They called repeatedly through the comms, but no one answered. A gloomy atmosphere enveloped them. The helicopter lights dim. In the silent mountain range, a sense of unease spread. Someone shouted, "Quickly report to the military department." Cameron Stone stood outside the encampment, looking grave, asking a spiritual system martial artist, "Are there any survivors down there?" The martial artist opened his eyes, deeply serious. "Currently, no signs of life detected. The squads that went in, I'm afraid they are doomed." Cameron Stone's face turned green, furious. "How could this be? Didn't we already determine the level of the alien beasts? How could there be surprises?" The martial artist sighed. "I felt spatial fluctuations in the catacomb. The spatial rift hasn't disappeared. Stronger alien beasts are coming through. The squads encountering disaster must be related to this." Cameron Stone paced back and forth. "A spatial rift? So they haven't given up on the catacomb. They want to use the spatial rift to bring in more alien beasts, preparing for a massive attack." If it was exactly as he thought, Northbrook was in danger of falling. Cameron Stone didn't hesitate, ordering, "Report to General May immediately." Late at night in the May family, Simon May was awakened by the ringing phone. His eyes lit up. "I know, I will go to the military department immediately." Dawn broke, the sun rising. All of Spiritvale was immersed in a heavy atmosphere. Radios, taxis, TVs simultaneously broadcasted the news. Last night, the catacomb 100 miles from Spiritvale had a massive eruption. Countless alien beasts poured out from the spatial rift, the residents of Spiritvale discussed animatedly. In the military department meeting. Row, Simon May slammed the table, furious. "What is the status of the catacomb now? Who said it was stabilized?" Last night, he personally went there. The situation down there was terrible. Hundreds of great grandmaster alien beasts were active, climbing to the upper floors. An eruption was just inches away. One person sighed, "Indeed. The catacomb, evaluated as exceeding triple S rank, was already very dangerous. We were too complacent. We didn't expect there was still a spatial rift down there." The meeting room fell silent. A refined-looking man with glasses said, "The situation is currently very bad. With the level and number of alien beasts, if an eruption occurs, the forces in Spiritvale are not enough to stop it." These words made the meeting room sink into silence. The number of alien beasts had reached a terrifying figure, ready to erupt at any moment. If the demon-quelling army couldn't suppress it, the consequence would be too severe. A division commander inquired, "Can we transfer demon-quelling army forces from elsewhere?" He was immediately opposed. "No. The demon-quelling army forces in Northbrook are evenly distributed. Each place has its mission. If they help another frontline, who will defend theirs?" Simon May was silent for a long time, then said, "Dispatch 3 regiments from other departments. Other forces remain untouched. Concentrate all military strength in Spiritvale onto the catacomb. Launch a tilting campaign. Clear out the alien beasts and seal the spatial rift before the eruption." The order was given. Everyone did not hesitate, immediately taking action. The military strength in Northbrook was vast. The whole city was enveloped in a solemn atmosphere. I also noticed the abnormality in Northbrook. Watching the news on TV, my expression remained unchanged. I understood the catacomb situation the best, but I didn't expect it to still be unresolved after so long. Simon May had been busy elevating Bradley May these past few days, neglecting Northbrook entirely. But I was too lazy to care. I originally planned to resolve the catacomb before leaving, but thinking again, Simon May was the commander-in-chief of the demon-quelling army. Handling one catacomb shouldn't be difficult. I didn't want to see his face, so after saying goodbye to the Turner, finally I set off for the capital. But just an hour later, the catacomb completely erupted. Alien beasts poured out of the catacomb like starving wild dogs, frantically attacking the demon-quelling army's defense line. This speed caught everyone off guard. The demon-quelling army had just gathered a few divisions and plunged into battle. Simon May couldn't sit still in the military department, personally going to the catacomb encampment. This eruption attracted too much attention. Outside the encampment, Cameron Stone's voice rang out. "General May, the provincial governor is here." Simon May rubbed his forehead tiredly, saying, "Invite him in." These past few days, the martial arts exam issues had troubled him, and now the catacomb erupted and couldn't be suppressed immediately. He had the biggest headache. Richard Lee walked in, looked at the defense line, then looked at Simon May and asked, "How is the situation? Tell the truth. If it's not looking good, I will report immediately to evacuate the citizens." As the provincial governor, Richard Lee didn't directly command the demon-quelling army, but when it concerned the survival of Spirit Vale, he had the right to know. Simon May rubbed his forehead, his voice deep and unoptimistic. "You can prepare for evacuation. The catacomb erupted too suddenly. Several of my main divisions haven't arrived yet." Richard Lee nodded, looking at the haggard Simon May, wanted to say something but stopped. "Okay, I understand." Simon May frowned. "Is there anything else?" Richard Lee shook his head. "No, nothing. I'll be taking my leave." Simon May watched him leave, muttering, "What's going on here?" The crimson sky over Spirit Vale was choked with despair. From the catacomb, an apocalyptic tide of alien beasts surged, threatening to drown the demon-quelling army. At the front line, Simon May swung his broadsword, his peak Great Grandmaster aura pushed to its absolute limit. But when the earth violently shattered and a true dragon-level beast emerged, all hope vanished. Its suffocating pressure brought the entire army to its knees. Simon raised his weapon for a suicidal final strike, a bitter thought flashing through his mind. If Michael were here, could the god of slaughter of the East have stopped this? He closed his eyes, waiting for death. Instead, the temperature plummeted to absolute zero, and a blinding pillar of intertwined elements, flames, lightning, frost, and astral wind, crashed from the heavens. Boom! The colossal true dragon beast was sent flying backward. A figure descended gracefully from the blood-red sky, a simple black combat trenchcoat billowing around him. Michael! Simon stammered, his pupils shrinking in absolute disbelief. I didn't even look at him. My newly acquired immortal cells surged as I channeled all my half-step true dragon power into my alloy battle saber. Rebirth martial art, world cleaver. With a single devastating swing, a crescent of pure annihilation tore through the battlefield. The saber gleam cleanly bisected the true dragon beast, turning it into a mountain of ash, and struck deep into the catacomb, collapsing the spatial rift entirely. Silence fell over the battlefield, the remaining beasts scattered in sheer terror. One strike had resolved a disaster that threatened millions. I calmly sheathed my saber and turned to Simon May. My gaze held no anger or resentment, only the cold, detached indifference one would show a stranger. Simon's pride, his ego, and his unshakable belief in his own superiority shattered into a million pieces. He finally realized he hadn't just thrown away a son, he had discarded a god. I was wrong, Simon whispered, tears of sheer regret mixing with the blood and dirt as he fell to his knees. He reached a trembling hand out. Michael, please, come back. General May, I interrupted, my voice devoid of any warmth. I saved Spirit Vale because of my uniform, not your bloodline. The debt is settled. The ties are cut. Without waiting for his response, I unleashed a burst of astral wind and shot straight up into the sky like a comet, leaving Simon May wailing in despair in the blood-soaked mud. High above the clouds, I landed effortlessly back into the open hatch of the waiting military jet. Chloe Reed and Diana Turner looked at me with wide-eyed awe. It's done, I said simply, taking my seat. Resume the course to the capital. As the jet broke the sound barrier, I looked out the window. Northbrook and the May family were just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things. The General's Heart competition, the scheming Marshall Saint families, and the true alien tribe awaited. The real war was in the capital, and this time the god of slaughter of the East would show no mercy.